Hello and welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name's David Turner and I'm here with James Farley.
Hello.
Matt Murray.
Hello.
And Sean Bell.
Hello.
We'd like to start this episode by thanking our Patreon producers this month. They are Aaron Patrick, Simon Nelson, Tom S, Jack Oven, Moomin Biscuit, Richard Sawyer and Dave Ernsberger.
It's his first one. This should be like a big, nice event for him.
I'm absolutely gutted for you there, Dave. I'll be honest with you, mate. That's not gone well at all for you. I do apologise. Dave Ernsberger. That's. I usually practice them.
Yeah.
Next week I didn't practice that one.
Yeah.
Dave Ernsberger is full Nels. You can go full Nels too by going to tcgs.co. No, you can't. The wrong one. What's up with me tonight? Patreon.com/TCGS. There are various different tiers there. One of those tiers will get their benefit at the end of this week. Or is it Thursday? No, it's Friday. It's Friday. Yeah. Friday night, In the Quizzing, episode 2 will be airing live at 9 o'clock on YouTube. But not for everyone, only for the $10 lot. So, you can watch that live on Friday. Please come and join us. Sean, you got all the questions all sorted? You all ready?
I've got one of them. I saw a funny news story and I was like, that's going in the quiz.
Okay. That's me looking at news stories.
I'm good at doing stuff at the last minute. That's what I'm telling myself.
I've got to say something about the Patreon, actually. Basically, recently Patreon have changed how they present our tiers. Now, basically, up to now, what you do is we've got a $2 tier, $5, $10, and $40 for full Nels. And you would say, I want to back one of them. And then when you go through, then on that checkout screen, it would then say, actually, there's some VAT to pay. And so now what they're doing is they're actually showing that up front. So all our tiers have changed. It's the same price it would have been previously, but now they're random prices. In case anyone goes to the page and wonders why they're different, it's the same price as it always has been, but they're sort of showing you that price up front. Just thought I'd get it out there.
Good. I'm glad you got that out there. But yeah, no, if you don't know what In the Quizzing is, the first episode went up on YouTube today. We did that last month, so go check that out and you'll see what you're missing out on. It's well worth being there for it live, I think. But yeah, no, a lot of fun. Looking forward to that on Friday night. Matt, you're back with us. That's good, isn't it?
Yeah, internet's just about stable enough.
What do you mean? Has it been bad since you had it
still
fixed?
Weird.
Well, it's been a bit weird today, but during the Champions League final on Sunday, it was I had to watch the second half on 4G. It was so bad.
Oh my god!
It went down as low as 1 megabyte. So that was great.
It's I'll say it. It's like Virgin Media have a little timing thing, and they go, "How long's he been stable for?" Right, okay, cut him off for 4 months.
Because it's been really fine. I mean, obviously, last time I had no internet is because I might have accidentally plugged in something I shouldn't have plugged into the router and blew it up.
What?
That's what happened last time when I didn't have internet. But apart from that, it's been rock solid. So,
what do you mean? You plugged something into the router that you shouldn't have plugged in?
We kind of, I think I told you this. I think basically we moved the lounge around, and I saw
Oh, you told me this, and I did not understand a word of it, so I moved on as quick as I could. You plugged a wall socket in. What? Go on, say it.
No. But basically, we moved all the room around. We obviously had loads of cables and plugs and stuff, and I was like, okay, well, this looks just like that one. I'll plug into the back of the Virgin box. Turns out that the power cable I plugged into the Virgin box was actually for my electric skateboard, and because it was basically from China and stuff. It may potentially have blown up, and there were sparks. So I won't be doing that again. But apart from that, internet's been solid.
Okay, but have you been riding your router to work for the past?
Unfortunately, not. No, should do.
Okay,
it's bloody fast.
We'll give it a go.
When it works.
Give it a go. Have you got notes on last week's show, Matt? That's what I want to know.
I do have some. Yeah, I listened to the show. It was actually I haven't missed an episode in ages. So I was gutted I had to miss it. But it was good to listen to it as a listener. It's actually rather enjoyable, I must say. You seem
surprised.
Well, it's just having not heard of it like that, it's just quite mad. Yeah, I've got some notes. I mean, actually, you were generally, there wasn't as many digs for me as it was, say, Sean digging out James a couple of weeks ago, but that was mostly fine.
Well, we've had words with Sean off air about that. His attitude towards James is a bit out of order. I think it's crossing the line. But go on.
God, if Dave thinks you've crossed the line, fucking hell. So,
actually, I've just got an email now from Virgin saying the Virgin Media team would like to hear your feedback. Fuck off.
Yeah, that's
the feedback if you're listening. So basically, you also there's that Fortnite story from last week, and out of nowhere, you're like, okay, we all agreed never go talk about this ever again. Never agreed.
Yeah, we're not. We're not. That's banned now.
But why? If it's
because
news.
we covered it, and it's Matt, you didn't pick that was clearly to wind you up.
I got that, and it got me around him. That's the first note I made. It's like, why are we fucking talk about this? It's a bit of news, isn't it?
I'll tell you why, because James was texting me in the morning before you said that you couldn't be on the show, and said this part of the show's going to be about 8 hours long with Matt, isn't it? And I was like, no, we'll skim through it and then just say we'll never talk about it again.
We'll talk about this week, which is quite interesting. Second note I've written here, I would like to fight David.
Would you?
Yeah, I'll give it a go.
Really?
I mean, if I lose, I lose, but it'd be fun, wouldn't it? Give it a go. I've never had a fight in my life.
What do you mean, if you lose?
I would like to have a fight. I've never had one. I was always worried, actually. I was always worried when I was younger. I've never had a fight, but it'd be like one time I punched someone, and I thought, what if I connect to the bottom of the nose and it goes into the bottom of the brain? You know, that sort of stuff you used to hear when you're in school. But no, I've never had a fight. So
I suspect if you connected with the bottom of the nose, I'd just be laughing for about half an hour.
Are you worried, Matt, that you'd be too dangerous?
I always worried the one time I would ever potentially have like a fight in town would be the one time someone slips and dies, and I'm like, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I always think, when you see like videos of like racists getting punched and stuff, and you think, God, I bet that feels amazing. But like you say, you just know that if you were the one to do it, you'd be the one that accidentally just hits them in the wrong way that kills them instantly.
Yeah, and I'm like,
I think you boys are safe. I think you can punch away.
It's not
about it too much.
It's not about strength, Dave. It's about technique, and we've got that in spades. So
you have got to stop watching martial art videos and thinking that.
No, to be clear, I'm talking about like dumb luck. I'm not saying that it's good, like
I'm
we're
not saying
so
I'm
fucking
aiming
tough or anything.
To punch the nose and it hit the bottom of the brain. Although that would be a bonus.
Okay.
Or like if you just knock them and they fall weird and bang them, crack their neck onto.
Okay. John Denson's listened to this. John, can you text me immediately about how funny you find this conversation, please? I want to hear a text message from you right now. Just pause the podcast quick and then send me a little message.
Sean. I mean, like me, you're outside Spoons on a Friday night. It's pissing down. Someone's like mugging you off about something, and you're like, fuck this, bang, and then they slip over, hit their head on the curb, and then they're dead. I mean, that's what I was worried, basically, Dave, about doing to you. But I would still like to fight you if that's on. If there's enough offers there.
I think I'll be all right. Maybe EGX. Maybe we can have one with some champion.
Like years ago, was it like Anthea Turner's husband did that fight, and was that against Gervais or Gervais?
That was against Gervais.
Yeah,
that was so weird.
We should do
and Gervais
won.
And Gervais, Gervais is tough as fuck, isn't he? Apparently, I remember Bob Mortimer talks about it on Richard Herring's show, and apparently Gervais kicked the shit out of him.
No, he didn't.
He won because the other guy did zero training because he just thought I'm really fit or whatever.
There's that, and if you watch the fight, I think Gervais got a couple of sympathy points. To be honest with you, it wasn't exactly a classic. All right, okay. Well, we'll see what we can do. We see what we can do.
I think we should organise like a sort of a British podcast. I mean, obviously, I would lose and get destroyed in the first round, but it'd still be funny.
I mean, we would have to not tell Eurogamer about this because it will not let us do it. We'll have to just.
The amount of security alerts we've started at EGX. All of a sudden, me and Matt just throwing down in the middle of the fucking thing.
It'd be good because there's always loads of chairs, so we can do almost like wrestling style. He's got a chair.
You're bringing weapons into it now?
No, I don't bring them in. It's
not bringing weapons. He's just weaponising. He's just using the tools that are available to him. Procuring.
I'm either kill you with my fist or kill you with a chair. So which one do you want?
Okay, well, if we're gonna do, I mean. I'm a Millwall fan, Matt. Are you sure you want to do this?
I don't think that matters anything.
I'm definitely going to have a bottle of hooch in my back pocket that I'm going to down and crack over your head.
But he's like, what, against karate?
Exactly, yeah. Anyway, it's a taking part. It's
we'll
not
see
a winning.
What we can do.
Finally, my note is they hate the form. I mean, Yeah, I mean, okay, well, we can totally scrap the form. I mean, maybe we could talk to us off air, but it's more fun on there. So, like, yeah, obviously we can scrap it. Like, the reason I set it up is because one, email's messy, and like I have to like do that, write the long email address on Twitter, don't have to copy that, change it. But where's this? Literally, as you click the link on Twitter, and then they're instantly into a form, send a message, done. It is annoying. It doesn't go into our email inbox, but also it means we'll have loads of messages with loads of PR stuff. So it's like,
it does make it easier collating everything every Monday, and I say that knowing that, to be fair, it's normally Matt that ends up doing it, but it's better than having to sift through the last like week's emails and make sure, like say, sort of digging them out between.
But if you want to
scrap
it, James, and do manage all that correspondence and go for it, we can do that.
It's good for the listener, obviously, but having to open Google Sheets every time is a pain. It really is.
Okay, so I mean, Matt's giving you an option there, James.
Yeah.
We'll scrap it, but then you've got to keep on top of the emails. Are you going to do that?
Yeah.
You are going to do that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Cool. Okay. So that's
I think we need to talk about this off air. Confirmation next week.
What does that entail?
Well, just collate, like separate the emails from the PR stuff.
Yeah, I could do that.
I don't
James,
think
you
you
don't actually access the inbox. You get it all forwarded to your own. So what use is that?
Exactly, because I know when it needs to be done, and then I'll just go in and do it. It's fine.
I'm
cool.
not
Well, anyway,
remotely convinced.
Listening, that was the last time you'll be sending in that form on Twitter. I will delete the form.
Could you imagine next week? Right, let's get to emails. Sean, well, we've got no emails this week. You sure?
It may be that some of them go missing. Apparently. That could happen. It's possible.
Yeah, you also have to do feedback. If you get emails about feedback, you have to put them as well, James. Because
James, are you one of these people that are like, if I do this job badly, then I won't have to do it anymore?
Yeah, definitely that. Really shit at washing up.
Should we get to the other feedback? Come on, Matt, let's get to it.
Yeah, we're going to start with MD Krabuffs. Regarding last week's career chat, what is a Patreon level where Mr. Bell was willing to be the fall guy for a large-scale international multi-million-dollar financial fraud, asking for a friend?
I mean, you don't need to be a patron. You just need to give me a job. That seems to be the minimum requirement.
Just send an email, MD.
Yeah, just offer me a job if pay's all right. I won't, I won't scrutinise it too much. Be fine.
You're a dodgy fucker, Sean.
No, I'm not.
Right,
I'll just do what I'm told. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Right, we're going to answer this one. I didn't really want to include this, but I've included it just so we can make the point. Louis Belfort, if PlayStation Now had first-party new releases, would you all be buying a PS5? We're going to be buying a PS5 regardless. But obviously that would be a good thing. Obviously. Also, why are you also anti-Android? We're not. Sean's got an Android and us on iOS.
Where's that come from?
That's that.
I don't think anyone's... What?
None of us have been ragging you on it or anything.
I would say that probably that's the worst time to have said that because, I'm not an Android user other than... I've got an Android telly and stuff. I'm not against Android, and I said on the show that I've been considering switching. Sean has always been pro Android, and Matt announced a couple of weeks ago that he's thinking about dropping iOS and switching to Android. So I mean, I don't know where that's
and to be clear, as the Android guy among three Apple fans, I've never felt attacked or mocked.
You bloody should have been.
No, but I wouldn't describe... I'd only describe one person on this show as anti-Android and an Apple fan. Well, what do you mean, here we go?
I never say anything bad about Android. Come on. I like my
James,
iPhone.
every time I mention it, you act like it's the end of the world.
No, Dave, the reason I do that is because I know exactly what is going to happen. You'll buy an Android phone, you'll have it for about 4 or 5 months, and you'll be like, this is amazing, why didn't I ever do this? Then after 4 or 5 months, you'll start moaning about it. Because I know...
Right, okay, why is that? Because Android is bad and you were like, it's subjective?
No, because you'll start saying, why can't I do some tiny specific case that I could do on my iPhone, but I can't do on my Android phone? Because that's the kind of thing you do, Dave. You always find something which is
Android's
some
really
tiny
cool,
thing.
And it means that it'll be fine. I'll be able to do even
more
stuff.
Dave, I don't think it's really cool.
What James is saying, Dave, is that there's nothing wrong with Android. It's just that you can't handle it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah.
How would you know? You've never used Android.
Because, Dave, you always find something to moan about. if it's always something that you're just going to complain about.
Look who's talking.
It's true.
Look who's talking 2, and look who's talking 3, which was did that even come out?
It did. I
think that was straight to DVD, right?
3 minutes later.
See, you can say all this, and you can say, "Oh yeah,
look
James
talking
James
now."
just
That's what it was called. It was the dog talking that time.
James always moans about everything, all this kind of thing. But you guys don't see all the text messages I get. Like about things, like complaining about stuff. You know,
wow,
it's ridiculous.
Wow, I think we could go through the text messages if you want, James. I think the one moaning. Let's not even go into
James,
it.
Is David asking you how to program his VCR? I can't get on the Facebook.
Do you know what? If Matt was turning around to me now saying you're always moaning about stuff, Dave, fucking hell, I'd go, yeah, you're right, Matt. Yeah, I am a bit of a moaner compared to you. But James, no. No, you can't step up and say that.
Look, ultimately,
it'd be like me turning around to you and going, "You're far too cockney." Do you know what? You're too arrogant, James. This is what you're doing.
Look, ultimately, you can do whatever you want. I don't care. It's fine.
Cheers, mate. Thanks. Right, but no, I would say I wouldn't say we were. But as for the PS Plus thing, whether it would sway me to buy a PS5, I don't know. I mean, it certainly make it a lot more interesting, but certainly not this year because they've got nothing.
They've got
on
nothing.
There.
That's the problem, isn't it? Even if they were doing this, what have you got?
I will say one thing. I know it's not news, and it was kind of a half news story, but they, Demon's Souls got rated, didn't it, the other day in like Korea, and people were thinking, like, or maybe Japan actually as well, and like it's very early. For it, like, and so people are thinking maybe that could be potentially a launch game, which would be pretty massive if that's the case.
Yeah, that would make sense. Would it be massive?
No. Yeah, I think it's highly anticipated. And like, I think a lot of people expected that to be like a lot longer down the line. If that was something like, oh yeah, it's out for launch.
100%. Yeah, I mean, I'd be very surprised if it come out this year, and that would be great. That would be great. But I wouldn't say it's massive though.
It's massive with like a subsection of gamers. I think would be really happy about it, but I wouldn't say that it's
going
to.
100%.
Consider how many PlayStation people throw themselves behind Bloodborne as like a big Sony exclusive.
Yeah,
like I think
but again, that's a subsection of people, isn't it? Like
it is, but it's enough of a sort of prestige title.
To more. Yeah, no, I suppose so. It'd be interesting, and any game like that at launch would be a bonus, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Oh, massive! Yeah,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Right,
6 Squid Games. Re-audio. Sean and David's advice regarding podcasting was really illuminating because it makes a strong case for preserving the naturalism excessive editing usually stifles. It also makes me value editing on TCGS.co even more. If Matt Morgan had an appreciation society, I don't see why Matt Murray can't have one based on the editing alone. I haven't actually edited recently, but whatever. We'll come back to that. Nevertheless, I'm not sure if the basic bit of sound design at 2 hours, 19 seconds, 30 milliseconds during last week's show was deliberate. When asked to look up the price for the Oculus Quest, it sounds like Dr. Farley typed the request out with his toes. Either that or was using a DDR mat as his main keyboard. Loves the show. So basically, life has been hectic for all of us, but like I've had things going on, so I haven't really edited for 3 or 4 weeks now, probably longer. So Sean or Dave have been taking over that. So I don't get the bonus.
I mean, I
for
do
that
have to stand in and say if Matt. Do I say? Yeah, I'll say this. I edited the show for longer than you have so far, haven't I, Matt?
You probably have.
And you're just using my technique, aren't you?
What? I mean, I'm
Matt Murray Appreciation Society. Come on.
I think it's not just that. It's all the other things I bring to the show. So Sean, did you put a sound in?
No, I didn't put a sound in. I think that was just James typing. I don't know why, because I had to listen back to it. It didn't seem massively bassy to me. Maybe it depends on your headphones.
Yeah, you have got very cheap headphones.
Yep.
There was
sound peats, baby. But yeah, no, that was just James typing. I do apologise if I'd caught it. I would have snipped it out, but did not.
No, I liked it.
Oh, well, there you go. It's all right then.
Beats, expensive. Yours, sound peats. I've got to try them out. How much are the ones that you bought? They're like 20, 25 quid.
30 quid they are.
Oh, 30 quid. I am going to have to buy a pair just to hear them. It's like the PS Plus situation with James that we're all going to hear a little bit later. I
can't wait for this. Yeah, it's going to be great.
Right, okay.
Looking forward to it.
SNW, I would pay good money to see a TCGS boxing competition. So would I, SNW. I would pay money to see it and I'll pay money to enter and win.
Okay. Wicked. The perk's going to be pretty good. You're not going to pay to win because I'm not going to be bought off.
Well, no, I'll pay to enter and then I'll win the money. And
okay, all right.
Do a big punch to the brain. Last week, you guys
do we contact St John's Ambulance?
I mean, have them on standby for sure. Have them on standby, yeah, because there will be blood.
Okay.
Mike Edwards, so last week you guys talked about Rogue Company, and Mike Edwards had like a tip for us, and I thought it'd be worth like bringing it out here. So on Rogue Company, you can get a code for free by linking your Twitch account with your Xbox, PlayStation, Twitch accounts, and Steam accounts or Epic Game Store accounts. If you go to roguecompany.com/twitch/drops, basically go to roguecompany.com and you can get free codes. So is that game?
They're starting to dish out the codes now.
Is it still in beta? What is the status of that?
Yeah,
game?
I mean, essentially, I've never looked into the sort of like the business behind it, so I'm not.
Because I got codes, but I was like,
sure.
have I got a beta code? Have I got a code? Because I thought it was.
So I think
you'll have the essentially you're paying for early access basically. So the game's not officially out on free to play, but you can play to. You could pay to play it now
because it will be free to play, won't it? It's just that at the moment, you've got to buy.
So, but the code I got to play it, I can play it without
that'll be the
buying
base
the Founders Pack
model, yeah.
So
you'll get like what, free agents maybe.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's basically the codes right now are basically early access to the free to play mode, I presume.
I would assume so. Yeah. It would
cool.
be.
But no, I appreciate Mike sending us this because I did it, and it. I mean, he mentions it took him about 45 minutes, but I must have been watching one for about 5 minutes. And it gave me codes
for every one, doesn't it?
Yeah, it gives you codes for every account that you've linked. So yeah, I got Switch, Xbox, and PlayStation codes out of it.
Oh, nice. Have you played it yet?
I played a bit on the Switch and went, yeah, fuck these sticks, man. This is not. I mean, technically, it's very impressive. It looks and runs great, but yeah, no way I'm going to be playing that handheld with those sticks, unfortunately.
Oh, we should have an eye on it. On
definitely.
Xbox.
I did the tutorial on Xbox, and then I didn't have time for a game after that, but. Yeah, I definitely give it a go. It seems. I mean, for a game when I saw that whatever one the directs was, I was like, God, this looks so generic. Yeah. It's actually getting loads of positive buzz. Like, I thought that would
just because it's really good.
Come and go in 2
It's
seconds.
really good. It feels great. It's very quick, and yeah, I mean, I won't talk about it this week. I've played a little bit, but I've got it installed on my Switch now, so I can sort of compare that. But yeah, no, it's good fun.
And just to confirm, you're playing it mostly on Xbox, but you've got it on your Switch, and is it the same character across all platforms?
I don't know because I've got the.
You've got that Founders
edition. I've unlocked everything on the Xbox one, so I don't know how to link the accounts. I've not booted it up on Switch yet, but I only installed it this evening, so
cool.
I'll check it out.
Alex has messaged in, campaign to hear a politics podcast on TCGS starts here. I'm sick of the BBC, The Guardian, and Prime Minister's Question Time. Come on, lads, tackle the topics and matter in your own unique, inimitable way. I mean,
I don't know if we could do that.
James, you would do that, wouldn't you?
It'd be awful.
I don't think James would be. A lot of it is just me asking really dumb questions and listening to what you guys have to say about it because I can't make up my own mind.
That's half the fun, isn't it?
That's basically it.
Yeah, it's just called doing research.
It's also very, very risky, isn't it? Could get a cancelling. We'll
have a massive disclaimer at the start. I mean,
David could get a cancelling.
That doesn't stop you getting cancelled, Matt.
Oh, does it?
No.
What do we call it? Is he cancelled? Should he be cancelled? Do we cancel? Something like that. Yeah. All right, maybe we do this.
Does he cancel? Okay. Yeah.
Cancelled with a question mark. You know.
Okay.
Pub, etc.
All right.
Johnny Ball, J-Bone, as we like to call him. G says, James's review of Ghost of Tsushima on last week's podcast. I'm still kind of enjoying it. I can play it for a long time without getting very bored. I mean, I think that is a good way of
the highest available praise from James, isn't it?
One thing I noticed on last week's show is like the way you were describing it, that sounds exactly the sort of enjoyment that people get from like an Assassin's Creed game.
Do you know, that's exactly it, Matt. And I was going to say that today about it. It's basically an Assassin's Creed game. It really feels like that's what it is.
But after hearing you talk about that and say, it's just like it looks good, it's really comfortable to play, it's not particularly like exciting or genre defining, but it's just great. Like you should James, why don't you give like the new Assassin's Creed game a go? I reckon you'll probably end up loving it.
I probably would, because I did like previous Assassin's Creed games. It's just that they started to get a bit unwieldy in the fact that it was like one every year. They just seem to be, constantly coming out all the time.
Well, they did slow down again, didn't they? And then that's when we started getting like Origins and Odyssey, which seemed to really, mess with the template quite a bit.
They missed 1 year, didn't they?
Yeah, it took the 1 year off. Yeah.
1 year, that's all you need. It's fine.
That's what we should do. Take a year off.
Take a year off.
Even better.
Can we do that?
I'm up for that.
Okay,
Can we do
cool.
that?
Yeah. That's agreed then. This is the last one till next year.
We'll keep the Patreon up, but
oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. I'm gonna go double the tiers. So
recurrent user spending.
Does this mean Nintendo's next games are going to be absolutely unbelievable?
they always are.
Possibly. Well, I was thinking more like we could take a year off and there still won't be any Nintendo games out to talk about.
Okay, that's a different angle you took for that joke.
Yeah,
I bet probably Adam is rewinding and listening to that and analysing it. Let's get some next bit of feedback.
We're going to end with Dewey Transters. Feedback on the last episode. Cyberpunk isn't actually coming out on PS5 such Xbox Series X this year. Next gen versions are coming next year. Even less of a reason to buy a next gen console at launch.
Yeah, I got a few messages like this throughout the week, and sorry, I didn't know that. And also, oh my god, why are we buying? Why would we buy these consoles? Why? Why would we do that?
UI. Hello, David.
The only thing that worries me, right, is that my birthday's in November, and if I ask for birthday money from people, then I usually get a little bit of birthday money, and I'm not going to get that next year till next November. So, if I don't get it in November, I'm probably not getting it for a year.
And so is it completely unthinkable to just save the money until...
Fuck off.
Yeah, okay. Just checking. I wouldn't be able to do it, so I get it. I always assume people...
I wouldn't be allowed to.
Okay.
I think it gets to like mid-December, and Joe goes, "You got any birthday money yet left?" And I say, "Yeah, I've got a bit. Cheers." Oh, right. Okay.
Make sure you ask for it in,
rid of it.
Make sure you ask for it in cash and keep it in a secret place, like a proper...
I might do that. Yeah,
like a bank.
And then where do
Dickensian miser.
Just keep it in a sock in a drawer or something.
Computer What?
Just keep it in a sock in a drawer or something. The cash.
No, it'll end up in the washing machine.
Yeah. It's possible.
Or just
in your Christmas socks, James.
Well, no, because
is that why you're always wearing Christmas socks?
Because I wear those all the time, don't I? I'm always wearing those.
Right, okay, go on.
If that's even feedback, if you want to leave us feedback,
good.
Don't use the form because.
Oh, what, are we officially retiring it?
Well, it seems so. Yeah,
I reckon no. Use the form this week.
Oh, are you okay with that, James?
I think we need to have a serious conversation about this off air if we're actually going to do this, because we're relying on James Farley, and I don't think that we're quite prepared to do that.
Yeah, I mean,
hey,
it's
if you do want to email in,
yeah, it's a risk.
If you do want to email in, what's the email address, Matt?
That'd be podcast@tcgs.co.
But if you want to, maybe that's the way we'll do it. Okay, if you want to go emails and forget the form, then email podcast@tcgs.co. Is that right?
Yep.
Good. Or if you prefer the form, then where do they go?
tcgs.co/deartcgs.
Just send a message in, however makes you feel comfortable, and then we'll work out what's the most popular.
I was just trying to make it easier. The form is easier for people on social. I think that's 100% true.
Okay, all right. Okay, well, let's see how that pans out. It wasn't good enough for James,
so I'm sorry, everyone. I tried.
It's hassle, isn't it?
Okay, shall we get to the news?
Yeah, there was a Nintendo Indie Showcase this week. Did we all see this?
Nope.
Okay.
I watched you two talk over it on 4G.
Oh yeah, we did.
I saw very short bits of it. I saw the Spiritfarer trailer, which looked great, and I was excited about that. And I saw the trailer at the end, which I was very, very excited about. But do you want to go through it?
Okay, so the first thing they showed off was this game called Hades, which is a
game
Greek
called
mythology.
Hades. I've only talked about it on the show twice and streamed it, James.
It's been out for ages on like Epic Games Store and stuff.
Yeah. Well, go on then, Sean. Tell us about it. Go on.
No, I don't have to. It was just the way you sort of treated it as if we'd never heard of it before.
Well,
there's this game called Hades, yeah?
It may be that there may be new listeners who have not heard you talking about it yet.
Okay. First time who's ever thought about that.
It's possible. It's very possible. There might
now's
be
the moment.
listeners.
Yeah. I mean, I heard last
Now's
week's
the moment
social bit, James, and you're like, you didn't even tell anyone what time the streams were. You're like, yeah, that's happening on Twitch, and Sean and me.
They get a notification. It's fine.
Well, only if they set the notification on.
Yeah, they might
Okay,
not.
this is boring. Come on, right? Let's hear about this game.
That's what I was thinking.
So anyway, it's a. I mean, Sean, you've got to talk about it. You know all about it. You
so
streamed it.
It's an action game, but it's like an isometric sort of dungeon crawler, but it's like a roguelike as well. So you're running around slashing up demons or what have you, and trying to escape from Hades. But the reason it's cool, or the reason I particularly like it, is because every time you die, yes, you go back to the start. But that's like you essentially go back to like the story area, and like things change and evolve, and characters get new dialogue and stuff. So every time you die, it's not just like, oh fuck's sake, I've got to start again. It's like, cool, let's see what's happened, and it creates a really compelling loop out of it. And yeah, I've been really enjoying it on PC. So the fact that it's coming to Switch is amazing, because it'd be great on a handheld. And they mentioned that it's going to have cross save as well. So that's fucking brilliant. I'm really excited.
And that's coming out this autumn, so that's it's quite soon. Then they showed Hypnospace Outlaw, which is like this thing which is like in a web browser, right?
Yeah, it's like a very 90s internet. And I streamed this as well a while back. I don't know how it controls with sticks and buttons. Like, obviously, I've played it with mouse and keyboard, but I mean, the devs seem very cool. I can't imagine they would just fart out a Switch version without seriously considering that stuff. So yeah, well worth a look.
And then we had Spiritfarer, which was I know that you've played it, haven't you, Sean? And David, you played it.
Yes.
I played it for 20 minutes or so, but I guess we'll talk about that a bit later. But that was out like right now. And then we got.
Well, it was crazy because I saw that trailer and I thought, oh my god, this does look good. I might actually buy it, because I was looking at new games and stuff. So I was quite interested to see, like when they announced it was out now, I was like, okay, cool, I might actually take the plunge here. And then within moments of that trailer coming out, it was like, yeah, coming to Game Pass. It's like, okay, sweet.
I mean, it's fascinating. Like, we were saying on WhatsApp, like, the amount of hustle that must have taken for an indie dev to, so for starters, get, the same release date on all platforms, because this was, all the consoles and Steam, I think, came out on the same day. It got announced on a Nintendo Direct, and it's also on Game Pass. That's a lot of wrangling, that, to get all that done, like all on the same day. But hey,
lovely stuff.
All lined up.
It's like I said, I think Nintendo probably don't even know what Game Pass is, so it's just.
Do you hear? Here's the thing. Do you reckon they knew that it was coming to Game Pass?
They
Nintendo
must have done.
You'd think, wouldn't you? Yeah, you'd probably think.
Yeah,
but
they would have done, for sure.
It's strange that then.
It's like they're giving it free advertising.
I suppose they just don't actually care, do they?
No.
It's not about that. I mean, they're promoting on their channels. Yeah.
From Nintendo's point of view, I suppose there's two different ways of looking at it. One is, well, if it's going to go on Game Pass, if we get the announcement, that's like Nintendo putting their stamp on it, and people will watch that and think, fuck yeah, I'm going to buy that on my Nintendo Switch. Like, it's
exactly
part of their brand or whatever. But could they also look at it as like, fucking hell, I can't believe we've just like announced this game and everyone's just going to fucking download it for free on their Xbox?
Exactly. Oh yeah. I mean, I was happy that I didn't just pick my Switch up straight away and buy it.
Yeah,
thing is, though, there's also a lot of people.
I do think it'd be very good on the Switch, but it's like £25 versus nothing. So,
also, there's probably a lot of people that own Switches that don't own Xboxes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying like they shouldn't bring it out on the Switch or anything. It was just fun. Like they were saying, it's just funny because you see that and you think, cool, can't wait to play it on my Switch, and then to just 10 minutes later find out it's actually free on Game Pass.
And ultimately, the sort of hidden story behind that announcement is, fucking hell, man, a brand new game that's £25 on Switch is just on Game Pass. Like, it's on the same date. It's so weird. Okay, yeah, go on.
Then we have Manifold Garden, which is Eurogamer describe it as a gravity flipping puzzler. So yeah, it's first person. Yeah.
This is on Apple Arcade.
Yeah, this has also been out for a while on PC and stuff as well.
Yeah. So it was. I mean, yeah, it's a nice get for the Switch, I suppose, if you've got nothing else to play it on.
I think it was quite cheap as well. It's not like super expensive.
Yeah. It's meant to be really good. I played a bit on the iPad, but like I have to. It's one that you need a controller for, really.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't spent too much time with it.
Then we had Garden Story, which
which looks lovely, but it's we were saying on the stream, weren't we? It's like
there's a lot of
another
these.
One. It's another one of these. It's another like
what's another one of these?
It's like just a cutesy sort of you're raising you've got a little plot of land and you're growing stuff and
you've got to rebuild
a community as well.
Yeah,
apparently, it's like,
James will hate anything along those lines. He's like picks a side and sticks to it.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like it looks lovely. I'm not having a go at it at all. It's just seen a lot of these now.
Yeah. Then we had is it Subnautica, and then there was also, is there two of these? Because wasn't clear here.
This confused me when we did the stream. So yeah, it's the Subnautica, which is coming to Switch, and also Subnautica Below Zero, which is apparently the sequel or a massive expansion.
Yeah, sequel. Yeah,
sequel. Yeah, and that will be coming to Switch in 2021.
And this is odd because this is like it's an underwater obviously game, but it's like a horror adventure. Yeah, that's like the thing of it. But then I was reading online and people were saying that it struggles on PC or whatever. It's like not being. So I imagine that on Switch is interesting. Yeah, to see how that's going to work out.
Is there much horror stuff in it? I thought it was quite chill. I thought it was just like a survival.
I didn't know
game.
It was horror, but I see you here. It says Eurogamer call it a horror, but a bunch of people recommended I play that after I loved Outer Wilds because I say it's kind of ish like an underwater. Outer Worlds. So, but I didn't know it was horror. But.
Yeah, and they say it's got it's survival mechanics. So whether that means horror or not is another thing. Then we got Takeshi and Hiroshi. What did you think of this?
I can't even remember this. Isn't it? I think this is
on
Apple Arcade as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You have to. I think you have to do. It's not puzzles, is it? It's like you have to do something to make one of the characters happy. That's like the plan. But I don't really know much about it.
Sounds great.
Yeah. But then the next one I was interested in. It was largely an ancient epic, and I thought this looked brilliant.
Yeah.
And then I was going to download it, and I saw it was £20, and I was like, I will download this, but not just yet. Because maybe I'll wait for it on
Game Pass.
Yeah. But I mean,
has that review bar? I assume that launched there and then, right?
It did, yeah.
Yeah, it came down. It's a timed console exclusive on the Switch, and it's out now, but I've not seen any reviews for it yet. It looked very kind of like, I thought it looked like Prince of Persia kind of thing, and I thought it looked great. And yeah. But there you go. Then we had Bear and Breakfast, which I had kind of tuned out by this point. I don't know what this was.
Okay, well, we could just skim through them if we've got nothing to say about them.
Yeah, I mean, that didn't look very interesting. Then they had a short hike. Which I downloaded after the show.
Perfect game, perfect game to put on the Switch.
And it's only cheap as well.
Little game. Yeah, although I feel that I should put a disclaimer out there because I saw a lot of people surprised by this. The game's about an hour long, maybe 2 hours long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't go into it thinking it's going to be... Cause,
the clue's in the title,
the mechanics,
it's not mucking around. It's
yes, but the mechanics that it brings in really does give the impression that this is actually going to be quite an experience, and then it just ends. So just a heads up.
Mm-hmm. Then we had Evergate, which is a 2D puzzle platformer. But yeah, that didn't interest me very much.
Fine. It looked very, Ori and the Blind Forest stroke Hollow Knight stroke.
Yeah, massively so.
Blind Florist.
I ordered roses. God's sake.
Then there was Torchlight 3 and also Card Shark were the other ones. I mean,
Card Shark looked very good.
Yeah, I mean, this was where the whole point here is you're sort of supposed to manipulate everyone that you're playing with, aren't you?
It's about trying to cheat at cards, isn't it? Basically.
Yeah.
But it looked like there was a lot of narrative stuff and people getting shot and some really nice artwork. So yeah, I'm interested.
Yeah, and then also Torchlight 3, which I guess for people that like, it's Diablo style, isn't it? Kind of.
It is. Yeah. People do really like Torchlight. It's meant to be very good. And yeah, and again, Switch would be great for it. So.
And then we got a sizzle reel of like just a whole load of things that are coming out later. I mean, the one that interested me was Grindstone because Chen really enjoyed that on Apple Arcade.
Yeah, but she still can.
Why don't you play it on Apple Arcade?
If I subscribe to it again, yeah. But I don't want to do that.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, given that it's definitely going to be like 25 quid on Switch.
Well, that's the thing.
5 months of Apple Arcade instead.
There's also the fact that you used to love, your biggest gripe was how mobile gaming completely changed from this really cool thing to a free-to-play nightmare,
and all that
which
kind of stuff,
you absolutely despise.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I don't know, it's one of the biggest mobile games.
I've got a Switch now, and I can play proper games that I want to play.
Yeah,
exactly. I've got loads of Switches.
Not as nice, is it?
No, that's true, but
And you haven't got the touch. Well, I suppose you would still have the touch.
Yeah, but you never use it.
It's weird how. Yeah, it's weird how they just many games don't even use it for the menus.
Yeah,
it is bizarre.
It's funny. I do sometimes find myself like if I'm playing something on the Switch and there's like if I'm like navigating menus or whatever, and if there's if there's like an option on the screen and I look at it, I think I don't actually know how to navigate across to that just using the stick or whatever. I will just instinctively just sort of reach with the thumb and just tap it, but then obviously it's about 50-50 on whether or not that actually works.
I would say less than 50-50. Yeah. So many games are just like, no, you're all right.
which I get. Like, I don't. If I was making a Switch game, I wouldn't be thinking, well, let's make sure it works without the controllers. Like,
no, I know, but menus. I mean, maybe it's harder than I think. I can't imagine it would be though, right?
Someone will tell you. Don't worry.
Yep.
Yeah, someone will tell me.
So anyway, I mean, do you want to hear the rest of them that were on the sizzle reel?
We've skipped the Untitled Goose Game news.
Yeah, and I was coming to that.
Sorry,
because that was the they finished with that, didn't they?
Oh, did they?
The last thing they showed. Yeah. So there was a whole bunch of games. As I said, there was Grindstone, there was Haven, Going Under, the Red Lantern. I mean, stop me if any of these are interesting. Unrailed, Struggling, Inmost.
I mean, just skip to the end.
Yeah. She Dreams Elsewhere.
I don't remember. Inmost is another one. That's been on Apple Arcade for months.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Okay. Yeah. I've seen a bunch of people talking about it because that's Chucklefish, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
And then they ended on, that Untitled Goose Game is getting a
what a wonderful trailer.
Yeah.
What a wonderful little trailer. For starters, right, the moment you heard that piano come in, I was like, oh yeah, there I am. I'm back there again where I've played that game with a big grin on my face from start to finish. That's fantastic. Then when you see the second goose pop out, you're like, brilliant. You instantly knew what it was going to do and all that sort of stuff. Initially I thought, is it going to be number 2? Does it need a number 2? And it was like, nah, free update, co-op, just 2 goose. I tell you what, that can't be easy to implement. Like that's going to be crazy. But the bit that done it for me, that got me all excited, was that I skimmed through this direct, and then I saw that, and I was like, Harry, watch this trailer. And I just put it on the TV, and he was like, oh yeah, it's Untitled Goose Game, yeah. What? and that was it, because we know that when's this out? End of September?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we know that we're going to download that update, sit next to each other, and have the best time just running around this village, honking at people and ruining their lives. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
I mean,
that would be like, that's the equivalent, of going back to the PS2 era with you and your mates, and them showing you a GTA 3 trailer where you're playing co-op in that area for us, because it's like the mayhem you would cause and stuff. Just doing that with a second person, I mean, that's going to be enough. I can't wait.
It's a bit of a shame it's not online, but then I don't know how that would work anyway, and especially with Nintendo Online, it would be a bit rubbish, wouldn't it? It feels more like a couch game.
Absolutely. And it doesn't feel like it's going to change like loads of stuff and be like this crazy experience or anything. It's just going to be something where you play it a few times and laugh your ass off and then never play it again. But I'm looking forward to that brief period where we play it. Fuck, I love that game. It's so good. They brought it all back. And even the stuff they were doing in the trailer where there was just like little nods to the actual main game and stuff. Running around the boy, looking for his glasses, just honking at him was brilliant. Love it. You never completed that, did you, Sean?
I didn't. No, I need to go back. I mean, I think it'd be really funny to try and play it with New.
Yeah, Isaac will laugh his arse off watching that.
That's a good point. He probably will. Yeah.
Without a doubt, it's so funny. But you've got to play it through, because it's just I'd love the whole ending and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's great, and it's not long either. It's only like 2.5-3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Next story.
Okay, so now, I mean, Rocksteady have responded to sexism accusations again, and this is a third statement they've made. But I think Matt or Sean, you know more about the context of this, yeah?
So there was this story in the Guardian, wasn't there, that published a letter written in 2018, complaining about the way that women staff were being treated at Rocksteady, including sort of sexual harassment and what have you. But then Rocksteady, there was this statement they then tweeted.
Yeah, so the second statement, they just put us out on their Twitter a feed, which is weird. Yeah, I mean, considering also it's a tweet as well where they've said no one can respond. You know, it's in that new setting that Twitter allows now. So, but they basically said, while working on our response to the recent news, being that letter, we received the following unsolicited letter, and then there's like an image. And basically that says, I'll read a bit of it. While working on response to the recent news, we received the following unsolicited letter. 8 out of the 10 people that signed the original 2018 letter are still at Rocksteady, and the following unedited letter below is from 7 of those people. Please note all those involved do not wish to have identity disclosed. And basically, it says things like, this statement has in no way been asked for, influenced, or by management or anyone else. It's solely the voices of those involved who are currently still employed by Rocksteady. And it basically goes to dispute the original claims and say that when the letter was received by the studio, that 2018 letter, immediate action was taken, which resulted in a series of meetings with the women at the studio to allow for a safe space to talk about any issues we were facing, figure out strategies to resolve these issues, and what the studio could do going forward. Continued efforts have been made to ensure that we have a voice within our work and within the studio, ranging from involvement specifically with how our characters are represented to workshops to help build self-confidence within male-dominated industries. So this basically says actually Rocksteady did try to do some things. There was a bit of a process. They tried to do things to make it better. And this message was from these 8 out of 10 people that signed the original one. So
look, I'm all for companies trying to improve themselves, but this is a fucking weird response.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's just weird saying, well, yeah, these are them people who've definitely said it.
And I'm sorry, no matter how many times you say that this hasn't been influenced by management or whatever, this by literally what you're putting out there, that shows that that's not the case.
It's by them tweeting it. It's almost like they're sort of wheeling it out and going, "Look, see, it's weird."
Well, I mean, my point is this. I mean, if management there haven't put pressure on these members of staff to come out with this reply, that doesn't mean that there's not been pressure there. By the point that the fact that you employ them, that's pressure in it alone. People that might say, yeah, I'm fine with it, but deep down they're thinking, I don't want to lose my job.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Another part of this letter basically says, recently an article was posted in The Guardian regarding a letter which was sent to the studio heads and HR in 2018, in addition to multiple other accusations. In this article, this is like the second statement, by the way. In this article, we feel that the anonymous source or sources attempted to speak on behalf of all women at Rocksteady, and we do not feel that this article was a fair representation of us and the events at the time or since the letter.
It doesn't fucking matter. Look, no matter how much good stuff is got. Look, we all know working environments, right? We all know not everything happens all over businesses. Now, sometimes it does, right? If it's rotten to the core, then it's rotten to the core, right? But the fact that don't defend yourself by saying not everyone's going through this.
Yeah, and the very fact that it starts with, well, of the 10 that wrote the original letter, 8 of them are still here, and of those, 7 signed this letter saying it's all fine. Like, it's a weird climb down. Like, sorry.
Also, after the Guardian ran the article, there was somebody who is not there anymore. Who was it's Kim McCaskill, who was a scriptwriter, and she said that Rocksteady management and HR had discouraged her from writing the original 2018 letter in the first place. This is what GamesIndustry.biz said. They said she was quoted as saying, "In that time, HR tried to stop me at least twice. And I had members of higher management take me aside to not only tell me to stop what I was doing, but to tell me that continuing to do so would potentially jeopardise my position within the company. And not just that, but it would maybe even jeopardise my position of being hired by other companies going forward because I might be seen as a troublemaker. And then it says, I mean, Games Industry Biz said, McCaskill said she believes the company pushed her out of the next year because of the letter saying, they quite clearly told me they could no longer afford me and replaced me with another writer within a month. Everyone knew what had happened, and I think it did deter women from coming forward. I mean, at this stage, like Rocksteady haven't responded to that. Like, I've not seen a response, but yeah, that's pretty atrocious as well.
So there has been a third one now, hasn't there?
Okay.
Yeah. Well, the third statement is also pretty long, but I mean, one part of it says, in response to the initial communication, we met with all the female staff, we listened, and we dealt with the issues raised. All formal complaints were thoroughly investigated, addressed appropriately, and a number of serious measures were taken in response to the issues that were surfaced, including discipline or termination of staff. Yeah.
Okay, so that should have been the original statement.
Mm-hmm.
Coming out trying to defend... You can't come out on the defensive with stuff like this. It's horrible stuff's happening. What a weird fucking response that is, and to put that out on a tweet that people can't comment on. I know. Look, we all know that Twitter responses are never good, and they can be inflammatory, and they can, whatever. But on a statement like that, it's like.
Well, this is it. And
it's like you're saying, it's a weird approach, awful approach.
One point I saw being made on Twitter that, I must admit had not occurred to me was, so all your female staff, or a lot of them, have written this letter saying stuff's going wrong, and then now some of them are saying, well, actually, it's been fixed. And like, fine, but that should be a dialogue between those people, and for Rocksteady to put that statement out saying, well, actually they say it's fine now, that's then like pitting these women against each other, which is really nasty and weird.
See, look, it is fine. See, and
it's not for Rocksteady to release a statement to say it's fine. It's for those people, those victims, to do it on their own terms, if that is truly the case.
Yeah, it's just using them as ammunition in this sort of like PR fight. It's a sad, messy situation. Mm-hmm. And you're right, Dave. Like this one today, on the 21st, actually a few days ago. But this most recent statement, this is the one they should have started with.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't necessarily mean that everything's fine. It doesn't make you look at that statement and go, okay, they've sorted it, on with my day. Like, it's that's not the response you get from that, and that's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is that, fucking hell, man, there's a lot of this going on at the moment, and the more that gets exposed, the better, because the more companies will look at themselves internally and go, do you know what, this isn't right, and we need to fix it. But they also need to work on how they're getting that message across to everyone else publicly. They need to look at how they're getting that message across of saying something has gone terribly wrong and we are trying everything we can to fix this situation.
I mean, in the third statement, I mean, they sort of conclude by saying, we continue to learn and we are working diligently to increase the ways we support everyone. We want to know if there are issues that have not been raised through our normal channels so we can address them. As such, we have engaged the services of an independent third party to confidentially speak with all employees at Rockstar who wish to do so. We'll also be reaching out to every former female employee who left in the past 2 years to ask them to speak to the interviewers.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well,
I mean, I do think they're trying. It's just publishing that statement was just very odd, and sort of colours the rest of their response, I think, a little bit. I mean, I think more than anything, I hope it was just a weird miscalculation, or error in judgment or whatever. But the way they presented that statement saying, "Oh, everything's fine," actually, that just came across so strange.
You're not defending yourself against tax fraud here. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like there's a big difference. Yep. The sooner PR agencies, I guess, wake up to that fact, the better, because right now that is just you're causing more damage. And I'm not talking damage to the company, I'm talking damage to the victims and other people that go through this. And because, again, it's not just the video game industry. If someone reads a response like that and they're in a similar situation in a company completely unrelated to gaming, they're going to think, fuck, this is how companies deal with this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I don't want to in 2 years' time, after flagging all this up, write a letter that gets used in a PR to defend the company that had gone wrong at that time. And you know, as I said, it's stupid to come out and say this is completely, you know, we put no pressure on these people to do that. You employ them, of course they're under pressure.
Yeah.
Like that's just
immediately
that's
a power imbalance. Yeah,
absolutely.
And the other thing, like, so yeah, the original 2018 letter was signed by 10 of 16 women who worked at the studio. That's fuck all. That's a problem. If you've like a studio that size has only got 16 women in it, that's pathetic. Like, like I don't know how many people work at Rocksteady, but for the size and scope of the Arkham games, got to be like what 150, 200.
I have no idea. I have no idea. I wouldn't like to guess.
But yeah, that point is, it's more than 32. Like, it's yeah, really odd.
What a mess.
Yeah.
Next story.
Okay. So we're going to return to the Epic Apple stuff, unfortunately. Yeah.
Right. Why? We put a ban on this last week.
Yeah, I thought you guys weren't talking about it, eh?
Things have happened. Epic have now won a restraining order against Apple. But
what
Fortnite,
does that mean?
Well, okay, so Fortnite is still going to remain blocked. So what it is the court have made the first decision based on like technology, like based on Unreal Engine, and basically saying that Apple can't do that at the moment. Like they're not. This is only like a temporary restraining order to prevent Apple from blocking like Unreal Engine and like development tools for iOS and Mac. Like they're saying you can't do that.
It's their business, isn't it?
Well, yeah. Well,
how can you get a restraining order? How does that work?
Well, no, because it's what they're saying is it says the temporary restraining order is effective immediately and remain in place until an order has been issued on the motion for a preliminary injunction, and that will be on the September 28th. Now, the reason they argued that the judge argued this is they say that it's fine for Epic and for Apple to like have disagreements over this, but it shouldn't be that what they are doing to each other is impacting other developers, like on the like on the wider sort of spectrum that there is on the App Store. So the argument is that it's fine for Apple to say, okay, you can't have Fortnite on here because you violated the terms of service, but it's not okay for Apple to then like just completely cut off Epic because that will hurt lots of other people. Whereas banning Fortnite only really hurts Epic; it doesn't hurt anybody else. So that's the initial judgment that's been made, and because what they decided was the court decided there was potential significant damage to both Unreal Engine and the games industry in general. And they said Apple has chosen to act severely and by doing so has impacted non-parties and a third-party developer ecosystem. In this regard, the equities do weigh against Apple. But then she also added, Epic Games and Apple are at liberty to litigate against each other, but their dispute should not create havoc to bystanders. But then when it comes to the 30% cut, they said that's something they'll look at later because the judge at this stage doesn't feel that it's yet that Epic have demonstrated that this has caused them irreparable harm. Because they also said that the current situation seems to be of Epic's own making, like regarding Fortnite and the 30%.
I still find that very strange how you can argue. Like, I understand the moral implications of that, but I still find that very strange how you can argue and put an order on a company to allow a software on their system, because that's what they're doing.
Yeah, it's to make sure that
the engine. I mean, how can a judge turn around and say you have to allow this software engine on your system? I don't. How could they possibly have the power to do that?
Well, presumably to ensure that there's still like that competition still exists within the ecosystem, because otherwise, if you remove Unreal Engine completely from iOS and from the Mac, then that means that people really will not have any choice about what engines they want to use. Like in terms, because it'll just be mostly Unity, won't it, or whatever people are using, presumably.
Maybe I don't know. I still don't see that. If Tesco's decide to stop selling Cadbury's chocolate in their shop, they're not going to be ordered to do so. See what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
It's a strange one. I'm sure there's a point that I'm missing here, but it does sound
the point that she makes is the fact that it's like collateral damage that's done from this. It's not the fact that Epic should be allowed to do it. It's the fact that then it affects everyone else by them doing this. Which is why they've said that Fortnite, they're not interfering with the, with Fortnite not being on iOS, because that's directly an Epic thing.
Right, okay.
In relation to this as well, see, Microsoft also got involved, didn't they? They put out a statement saying they support Epic and so on.
Of course they do.
Well, I mean, Microsoft coming out in defense of a company suing Apple is not really worthy of news, is it, really?
There's one thing I was reading about this that made an interesting point. We were saying that, Apple doesn't have a monopoly because ultimately Android exists and people can go and get Android phones instead if they want. This article I was reading was making the point that, actually no, because it's only meaningful if the threat of people going to Android is enough to allow Epic to bargain with Apple and to be able to use that as an argument with Apple. So the fact that Epic tried to do things their own way and Apple just went, right, no, fuck off, suggests that, whatever leverage the threat, the threat of, we'll get everyone to go to Android, whatever the leverage of that is not sufficient to make Apple do anything. Therefore, you can't make that argument that,
okay, this is getting way too complicated. Yeah. But I still don't see that point. If I'm honest with you, I still don't understand that point.
Which
so they've not got the leverage to. What you're saying is that the implications of them not allowing that on that platform is not significant enough for Apple to be worried financially, right? How does that make that a monopoly? Because that's the argument.
No, I'm not saying it makes it a monopoly. It's just that the argument that people have a choice to go elsewhere. It's still. Clearly it's not enough to affect Apple's decision making. Therefore, that's not healthy competition. Then, is it?
But you see, that argument is that it's too difficult to leave iOS or leave Apple or whatever.
Well, yeah.
And I don't think. See, I don't fully agree with that, because if I wanted to, okay, I'm fully locked into a lot of the Apple ecosystem. Mm-hmm. But I could leave if I really wanted to. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't be too difficult for me to export all my emails and all that kind of thing, and copy my photos over to Google Photos or whatever like that. It's not very, very easy, but it's not impossible. It's not something. I'm not completely locked in where I'd lose everything if I did so.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's way too complicated for 4 idiots. Let's face it.
It's definitely starting a conversation now, because obviously, Google backed up Epic, Microsoft put out a statement as well, and then also now news publishers like the Washington Times and New York Times, Washington Post also said.
Matt, go back. What, Google backed up Epic, he said.
Yeah, because Google also saying about the monopoly thing. I'm sure that they got involved.
Google have not said anything about that.
Okay,
they've been very quiet.
Fortnite as well, didn't they?
Yeah, they banned it as well.
I guess what I meant to say is lots of people getting involved, because also now news publishers get involved too, like Wall Street Journal and New York Times have also.
So that's the thing. All of these are all really these are good conversations that are going on actually at the moment, because it is clear that there is a lot of imbalances here, in terms of shares and cuts and stuff like that. I think one of the biggest problems, though, is the way that Epic have gone about this has been not great. I mean,
no, it's not. They've done two things wrong here. Firstly, instead of raising it as a legal issue before breaking the terms of service, doesn't make them look good. They signed up to those terms of service. They purposely broke them so they could be banned and start this all off. Secondly, actively trying to get their fan base to turn against the way they went about it with the advert and the hashtag free Fortnite, all that sort of stuff.
There's more than that, Dave.
Don't seem right to me.
Because the next story is that they've also created the free Fortnight Cup, so the current in-game season's coming to a close for Fortnite, and so now they're doing hashtag free Fortnight Cup. This is an event that is going to run across all platforms, presumably not iOS or Google Play. And what they're doing is they're offering prizes themed around the dispute. including there's hats that feature a parody of Apple's logo, and it says there will be the chance to win a Tart Tycoon outfit, the Apple-themed Big Brother character from Epic's 1984 short film. I mean, calling it a short film's a bit of a stretch.
Fucking advert.
And then they're also giving away hardware prizes as well. It's classy, isn't it?
I'll tell you what it is, right? I mean, if we were having a conversation a few weeks ago saying, do you think these platforms deserve 30% of the cut of the sales of things on their system? I think that's an interesting discussion to have.
Yeah.
30% seems quite high to me.
Mm.
But because we've gone through this process the way it has been, it's kind of like, okay, I think you've got an argument and there's a point to be made here. But the way you've gone about it just feels weird, man.
It's also just the idea of Epic as the underdog is insane. That's a crazy idea of them being like an underdog. It's just, I don't know, it's just weird.
Mm.
But anyway, I mean, this has also spread to other stuff because Valve have also updated their FAQ now for developers and publishers to reiterate that they won't let developers and publishers promote non-Steam versions of their games in their communications on their store. So it says, in the game you ship via Steam, and in any communications on Steam, you may only promote the Steam version and its accessibility via Steam, and not other distribution outlets. This applies both to full versions of your game and to content patches that change the existing version. And so, I mean, they're drawing a line here as well, aren't they? Basically saying, you can't advertise on the Epic Game Store or whatever. At the same time, it's if you're going to,
which is weird. No, is it? I was going to... Because, Steam are totally okay with Steam keys being sold elsewhere. They've been well known for it. It's supposedly if you release a game on Steam, they're just right, how many codes do you want us to generate? And you do whatever you want with them. They can be promos, they can be keys that you then, give to other stores or whatever, because they've always seen the benefit of just making sure that everyone is in Steam, right? Everyone's part of the Steam ecosystem. Even if they're not always buying everything through Steam, you'll still want to redeem everything on Steam and play it through Steam. Mm-hmm. So, but then
Valve have actually come back and said it's not actually a new policy. They're just clarifying the existing rules, aren't
right.
Well, they said, their statement's brilliant. They just said, well, not brilliant, but you know what I mean? It just sounds quite funny, especially when you consider what's going on in the world, with all the Apple stuff. It says, the new language on the FAQ was not really the introduction of any new policy or policing that should concern the majority of publishers on Steam, but more of a reminder of existing rules for a small number of developers exploring the boundaries of the existing policies. This is
fair enough.
It's someone standing outside their door with a bat, just tapping it on their palm of their other hand. You know what I mean?
I suppose what's it? Sorry, I'm just still thinking of the example I was giving. I suppose there's a difference between, for example, the Humble store selling you something, and the power relationship there is that it's worth the Humble store saying, if you buy this, we'll give you a Steam key for it. Whereas something on Steam saying, oh, actually, if you go to Itch and buy this, it's cheaper. That's very different, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Interesting.
Well, there you
go.
Okay. Okay, so then also, there was a whole bunch of Warner Brothers stuff, wasn't there, over the last couple of days?
The DC FanDome happened on the weekend.
Mm.
Yeah. So, there's a Suicide Squad game coming, which is Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, and this is a continuation of Rocksteady's Arkham stuff, basically.
Pretty funny trailer, I thought.
Yeah, I thought the trailer was brilliant. Yeah,
good.
And then they also showed off Gotham Knights, which is this is an evolution of it.
I was going to say, did we know
Batman's
about
dead.
this? Because it was news to me.
I don't know. Gotham
weird.
Knights, we obviously they've been, teasing the Court of Owls stuff for ages, and I think that this is basically what the result of that tease.
Okay.
But we didn't know really much about this. No.
Yeah, and so this is.
I can't believe you've not played the Arkham games, Matt.
No, I mean, I said I played a few hours of the most recent one and stopped for whatever reason. But both these trailers, and in fact, all the stuff I saw at DC FanDome was really good. I really enjoyed it. For someone I don't really generally care about superhero stuff. Both of these games are really good, and what was cool about the Gotham Knights thing is that we got that cool trailer, but then there was also like a few minutes of gameplay. We actually saw gameplay, which is nice. It wasn't just like, here's a CG trailer, which is basically what we did get for Suicide Squad, even though they've been working on that for many, many years, allegedly. So that was a little bit disappointing with Suicide Squad that we just got a trailer, the CG trailer, even though it was well put together and quite funny. But Gotham Knights, that actually felt like a real game, and it looked really good. You play as so there's no Batman in it. I mean, allegedly Bruce Wayne is dead. I mean, who knows if he's going to come back in the game. But yeah, the Court of Owls has emerged, and the Talons have also emerged. And basically, you play as Batgirl, you play as Red Hood, Nightwing,
and Robin. Yeah,
I think that's all of them.
He knows all the names.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't at the start because I don't know much about it. So I'm like, hey, is that Deadpool? But no, it's not. It looks just like Deadpool. But I thought the gameplay looked really, really good fun.
It basically looked like, so it pretty much looked a lot like an Arkham game. But as you say, like all different characters to choose from and co-op.
Yeah. I was about to say, it looked like a full-player co-op game to me.
Yeah,
they said you can play on your own with AI, so God knows what that would be like.
Right, I'll definitely try and co-op where possible.
That's how the Suicide Squad game is working, because that's like 4-player co-op as well, but you can like switch between characters or you can play with 4 other people online.
Oh, fair enough.
But like Gotham City, this is going to be like an open world Gotham City, and it's
so just to clarify, basically, so Gotham Knights, that's 2-player.
Right.
It says here in the piece. That is 2-player online co-op. Whereas, the other one is 4-player Suicide Squad.
Cool.
It's good. And obviously combine it with trailer for a new Suicide Squad movie, which looks decent actually, considering the one previously was pretty rubbish. But and that new Batman film. Right. Did you guys see the trailer for that?
I did. Yeah. Robert Pattinson looking creepy as fuck.
Can't wait.
Yeah,
Capone Adams started a reaction channel. Well, I think he started it about a year ago, but he's now doing reaction videos, and he reacted to that trailer. It's worth a watch.
Oh, brilliant, yeah.
Look for Reaction Adam on YouTube if you want to go and watch his videos. Okay, is that it?
That's it. That's pretty much it, yeah.
Well, it's time to get to what we've been playing then. And I think, Sean, you should start us off with Spiritfarer, because it was the quick fire release this week and you got stuck in.
Yeah.
You've been looking forward to this one?
Yeah, I've been spending quite a lot of time on it. For those who haven't seen the trailer or heard anything about it, so it's a 2D platformer, but where you are this basically, you're the Spiritfarer, which is basically the person who's in charge of carrying the spirits of the dead to the proper afterlife. So you sort of, these people sort of come and live on your boat, and I think my understanding is that they've already died, but their spirits haven't passed on yet. Usually because there's some sort of unresolved issue of some sort they need to deal with, and you have this like huge houseboat, and everyone who comes to live on your boat, you build a little a little room for them, and then you'll have there's a kitchen, and there's sort of different sort of workshops for that sort of concern different materials and stuff, and there's like a bit of farming in it as well, and it's all about essentially traveling around. There's a lot of sort of gathering resources and crafting and stuff, but also sort of in doing that you're also having conversations with these spirits who've come to live on your boat, and trying to help them resolve whatever it is they need to sort out before they can then pass on into the afterlife. I really love it. I've still got I've still got a lot of questions about the story, and I'm now getting to that. Like, I understand it's supposed to be a bit mysterious, but I've spent enough time on it now that I'm a bit like, things should be starting to be a lot clearer by now, I would have thought. But I still have like tons of unanswered questions, and I'm not, you start worrying that it's like, oh, but maybe this isn't like the game sort of being willfully mysterious, and it is actually just not that coherent, and but I don't know, like I'll obviously reserve judgment on that till I've finished it. I love the way it looks and sounds. Like I really love the art style, the music's beautiful. Like just the way the main character controls is just really good fun. Like I say, you construct all these different sort of rooms on your boat. And then obviously that then becomes essentially this level that you have to run and jump around as whenever you're sort of doing stuff on the boat. The way you sort of lay out these rooms affects like how you get around. And it's like actually really good fun sort of figuring, because you sort of, you're always adding new rooms and you've got limited space on the boat. So you'll have sort of times where you're actually struggling to just fit everything in, but then you might get a boat upgrade where it's like, right, now everything's a bit bigger. Let's try and actually rearrange stuff in a way that makes sense to me, like in practical terms, like, right, get all the farming stuff in one corner, residential over here, and stuff like that.
Because most of the rooms are tied to things that you have to regularly do on a timer.
Yeah,
right?
there is quite a lot of busy work. I think enough of it is, it's a light enough touch. Most of it, it's very simple interactions. I think
you go into a room and like for example in the field, you go into the room, you press a button, and each of your crops to water them.
Yeah,
that's it.
I mean, that's probably the one I could do with less of. It's like at least a lot of, the others often involve like little mini games and stuff, which are, short and sweet, but, quite good fun for the sort of 2 minutes you'll do them. Whereas the watering the plants one is a bit boring, and it is like several times per like in-game day you'll have to do that. Like I really like the fact that the navigation is just completely like, you open up a map, you point where you want to go, and the boat just goes there. So that although there's a bit of resource management in terms of building stuff, there's no worries about like fuel or anything or repairs. Like you can always go anywhere you want to. But yeah, I really love it because I like the fact that it's like, yes, it's quite twee, but ultimately it's about death and people's regrets and stuff, and like tackles some sort of quite, I was going to say some difficult stuff, not necessarily, but it is just people talking about their issues and regrets and problems and so on, which I think sort of pulls it back from being too, like there's this whole movement towards like wholesome games, which I do think is a nice thing, but I worry about it becoming like a trope that a lot of indie stuff then comes to lean on, whereas this, because it's essentially about death, I don't know, that to me it pulls it back from being too cutesy or twee, I think. But I mean, Dave, you're not so keen on it, are you? Or is that?
Well, I mean, I think the opening hour and a half to 2 hours of this is pretty awful.
It's very slow, isn't it? At first, a lot of tutorials.
I think it struggles. What it tries to do, right, is that there's a lot to teach you. There's a lot of mechanics to the game. There's lots of bits that you can do. And when you play a game with a lot of mechanics and it feels like it's revealing something new that you can do constantly. With this, it feels more like it's just dragging out a very simple tutorial.
Yeah.
So, and I think there's a reason for why they've done that. Like we're talking about watering the plants and fishing and the cooking and that sort of stuff. That really can just be a very short dialogue box. This is how it works. This is why you need to do it. That's it, right? But I think what they attempted to do was trying to, at the same time as teaching you things, also introduce you to a few characters.
Yeah.
And, that has worked in games before, but I don't think it works here because it's so text heavy, especially at the start of the game. It is kind of like, oh my God, feels like it's a tutorial, but at the same time, to tell me to go there and press A to water plants, I am going through so much dialogue, and I don't feel the character and the writing is strong enough to sort of slip those bits in. So the bits between it telling you what you should be doing. I was kind of like, I'm getting nothing from this. What I'm doing now is trying to wait for you to tell. And there are a lot of times in that opening hour or so where you know what you're supposed to do next. So you go there, you attempt to do it, and you can't until you go back and have a long conversation with someone. And then they tell you to go and do what you just tried to do. The worst for that was when you go to the shop on the island for the first time, and you go there and you see it, and it comes up the shop. This is how much everything costs. This is what you have to buy, and you have to buy some seeds from there, which is confusing anyway because I'd already gone somewhere and collected a bunch of seeds. But although I had seeds on me, I had to go to this island and buy seeds to progress the tutorial, essentially. And I went there and I went to the shop and I went to buy the seeds and my money wasn't going down when I was clicking A. And I was kind of like, okay, that's a bit, why is this, is it broken? Can I not buy that for another reason? What's going on? Then I finally gave up, come out of the shop, and the character the sort of tutorial character was standing next to me. So I thought, well, I'll speak to this character. And they were like, you're always trying to, con people, the tourists and that with your high prices. Yeah. And I'm going, okay, so I'll go back in, the prices will be lowered. They weren't, they were the same. So it was kind of like, oh, right. So all that happened there was I had to wait for that character to show up to tell me to do something that I was already trying to do. And it made no difference. And it was kind of like, that's not criminal, that's not game breaking, but there was so much of that dragged over the opening 2 hours that I was kind of like, I'm really, really struggling here. Like, it's really doing everything it can to slow me down, and it's not giving me a good enough reason to do that. And then when the game opened up a little bit, I could see definitely see why people would enjoy it, but at that point I kind of realised that isn't for me. I didn't want to wake up every morning, go and water the plants and go and put some food on and wait for that to tick over and then point somewhere, do that same fishing mini game over and over again. Or, it didn't feel, the other, from the trailer, I thought, I'm going to have so many connections with these characters. But in those early stages, there's so many times where you just can't talk to them.
Yeah.
Like you talk to them once and then you just can't talk to them again. And it's like, well, I'm not going to have regular conversations with these. You're going to decide when we talk. It's not going to be on my terms. It's going to be on when
they've
story
got something
progresses.
to say. Yeah. And it's
so
weird.
How am I supposed to have an emotional connection with that?
Yeah. So what maybe it might be that I get to the end of the game and I just think, well, this was a stupid thing to care about. But so at the start, I think it's like the first 3 sort of residents on your boat, like they all know you personally, and initially I was like, is this going to turn out to be a twist that the way the Spirit Pharaoh works is that like everyone who comes to you sort of perceives you as like the person they need to get them through it, if you know what I mean. Because like to this one character, you're her oldest friend, and to someone else, you're his niece or whatever. And I thought maybe the twist was going to be, it's like, oh no, they actually all see you as different people, if that makes sense, like sort of Quantum Leap style almost. But then I've got more people on the boat now, and they're just perfect strangers, and talk to me as such. So I don't think that's a thing. But then I'm just really confused as to why, if your job is to ferry everyone to the afterlife, why is it the first 3 spirits you meet are all people that you know? I don't know, just a weird narrative choice.
Yeah, it's a weird way to introduce the idea of connection between characters.
Yeah.
Like how can I have a connection with a character where the connection's already been established?
Yeah, because they're sort of having these conversations with you, and it's like, oh, I remember when we did this. I'm like, no. That's because that wasn't me, and not helped by the fact that the main character doesn't ever speak. So
that's the other thing, because it was kind of like, I want a voice in this.
Yeah,
it feels like a game where a voice would be important from the main character, and I'm talking very early doors, so I'm not going to completely write it off. I was hoping that when the game opened up, it would appeal to me. But it really didn't. So I sort of, it was funny because while I was playing it, I was thinking John Denson would hate this. So I told him to play it, obviously, and said, "Can you record me like a private, just a private reaction video of you playing like the opening hour?" Which he did. He said halfway through it, "Dave, why are you playing this and not Spider-Man?" And I was kind of like, yeah, why am I playing this and not Spider-Man? It's okay to turn around and go, okay, the game that everyone's raving about, I'm not into. That's fine. I'll step away. I'll tap out.
Just remember, I didn't play The Last of Us 2 and probably never will. So
exactly. I will say this, and this is a controversial point that I think you'll hate. Okay. I don't get all the praise over the visuals.
Really?
I really don't see it. I think it looks all right. You know what I mean? I don't look at it and go, wow. You know what I mean?
It's most the boat is a weird one because obviously most of it is just like essentially blocks that you put together as you build the rooms and move them around and stuff. So it's sort of limited in that regard. It's the islands for me. I just think the illustration style is beautiful. I think the animation on the characters is great as well. But
it looked okay to me. You know what I mean? I've seen games, a lot more games that. I mean, James, you played 20 minutes, but what did you think? Because you were quite excited for this.
I was, yeah. And I mean, I downloaded it because it was on Game Pass, and I thought, I probably would want to play it. And I mean, I kind of agree with you about visually. I didn't think it didn't blow me away or anything. I thought it's nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's pleasant.
It does some things later on that do look better, like the jellyfish bit looks good. But yeah, I mean, just from those opening areas or whatever, it didn't blow me away completely.
See, and also the only thing that has put me off a bit playing it was when I heard that it's 30 hours long.
Yeah.
And now, bear with me here, and Dave, you're going to hate this, but this is why I kind of would rather I was playing this on Switch than I would be on my Xbox.
Why would I hate that?
Because then I could play it anywhere, and I'd be more likely to play it. And
why would I hate that?
Well, no, because I know you hate it whenever it's something. If I ever complain about Game Pass or anything, I know you don't like it. But it's like if I could play it on Switch, I prefer that. It's not a problem
with Game Pass, though, is it?
It'd be better.
Yeah, no, I mean, no, I get that. I just think what also put me off, because before I tapped out, I'd seen that it was, people were saying it was around 30 hours long. The thing that got me was like, okay, but then why is it taking 2 hours to do this tutorial bit? You know what I mean? Like, why you drag? It feels, cut that down. It doesn't need to be 30 minutes long if the tutorial was 2 hours of just walking around from island to island going, okay, I don't know.
Well, the worst thing about the tutorial stuff is that when I played the demo of this, I'm pretty sure it taught you everything in like 20 minutes.
That would have been nice.
Yeah, like I think it would have done well to have, like, to basically start the full game with basically having that initial arc, like the same pace as the demo, because it's a good few, like, must have been a good 5+ hours before I first like sent a spirit through the gate, so that's a lot of tutorials and resource gathering and traveling around before you understand what this arc that every character is going to go through is. So maybe they could have brought that forward a bit, and it wouldn't have to be, a particularly important character, but just like if it was just someone that was quite likable, and it's like, look, here's how it's going to work. And in the space of 30, 40 minutes, you've gone through that, and then you've sent them off, and you're like, right, okay. And then as you start getting other characters and you get really attached to them, and you start thinking like, well, fuck, I know where this is going. And it's going to be like sort of really bittersweet when they do eventually pass on. But as it is, I think, like maybe a lot of players could, like I say, you can spend a good few hours on it without really knowing what that's going to be like when you actually send a spirit to the afterlife.
So that's the problem I had, because I just thought I played it for 20 or 30 minutes and like it was very slow paced. Yeah. And then I was just thinking 30 hours of this, is like...
It is, which obviously it's not going to be,
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's just I just kind of thought, well, if they're, I don't know. It's just I just thought, why am I playing this? You know, I'm not enjoying my time with it. It's you know, it could be fine. I've got no hatred towards people that are saying that they're loving it. It's just I just wasn't digging it.
Fair enough. And as I say, and I've still got reservations about the story. If they're all resolved and it's brilliant, then you know, maybe I will shout at you to give it another go. But I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I just really, you know, it reminds me a bit of, and it's not really similar in gameplay terms. I get a similar buzz from it as I got with like Viva Pinata, just in terms of like I like the feeling of creating this little habitat for people to live in, and then just occasionally sort he needs his dinner, let's go and fucking cook something, let's do a bit of fishing, let's, you know, this, that and the other. And I like that feeling of just running this little haven for like a few people. Don't know, something about that is something quite sort of homely about it. Yeah, I think that's something I really get out of this. But cool. But yeah, I really love it. But as I say, I'll let you know how the story goes.
Please do.
I will.
Did you have anything else to talk about? Or?
Microsoft Flight Simulator, mate.
Oh God, I want to hear about this. Matt, you've been playing this as well.
I've played a bit. Not as much as I'd like, but I've certainly been playing a bit. Yeah.
Okay, I'm very pumped for this because I'm who cares, Microsoft Flight Simulator, but it genuinely, when the stuff that I've seen from it genuinely feels like when Google Earth first come out or Google Maps first come out, where everyone's dad was zooming into their house and going, look, you could see our garden and there's our car parked outside. You know,
oh, that's not the car we have now. That's one we had 2 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and it's really just like a red pixel back then as well because the resolution was so shit. But like, it just, to me, the thought of flying over, old schools and workplaces and stuff like that is just places that you recognise is enough to make me go, oh man, I'd love to play that for a bit.
And it's fascinating the extent to which you can. So I when I first started, so I did like the first tutorial, and then thinking I'm brilliant right now to fly now. I'm just going to fly from Manchester to Liverpool. But and sort of thinking, well, I'm going to be flying up in the sky. I'm not really going to see. And hang on, is that the M6? That's the M6. That's Junction 19, fucking hell. And then from there, navigated to my hometown where I grew up, and then crashed into the restaurant that I worked at for nearly 10 years, on purpose. But it's it's fascinating because it's so open to how you want to play it, right? It doesn't matter, if you don't want a proper simulation, if you do just want to take off and look at things, that is absolutely fine. There's zero judgment for whichever mode you want to play it on. So it goes from full hand holding to you'd better know how to do all your pre-flight checks and all that stuff, right? So I'm playing it. So I'm now in the sort of the middle setting, but I've turned off damage and stuff because I kept flying a bit too fast, and turns out planes rattle themselves to pieces quite quickly. If you accidentally go too fast in them. I was doing that a lot. And
do not tell me that.
But it's just such a fascinating and odd thing, and it's really cool to see how much buzz there is around it. But it's still sort of I don't know. I can't imagine a lot of people spending a huge amount of time on it. But then I suppose,
once you've flown over your
exactly, house, and if you when to explain to people that the thrill of it, there is no game really. It's just the thrill of it is just increasingly taking away the assists, right? And then just being like, oh crap, now I have to do this, and so the thrill of just landing a plane properly, is great.
Just the thrill of taking off properly, landing properly, that is, and I presume I'm still on basic aircraft, and I only really just got out of the tutorial because I was still enjoying that and make sure I wanted to nail that and so on and so forth. But and obviously, I guess the thrill of ultimately being able to pilot the huge planes and doing everything with no assists, as you said, Sean, would be I guess that's going to be it, isn't it?
Yeah, and like all the way down to things like so when you're approaching an airport to land, like you have to bring up the comms panel and like ask them for permission, and it like it has like a little sort of conversation plays out and everything, and you have to go through the correct protocol where they'll be like, right, okay, permission to land on this runway, like copy, and you have to be like, yes, like landing instructions received, over. And then there'll be options for like, oh, by the way, I don't actually know the airport. Can you just, guide me in? And they'll say, right, okay, so your approach is from like 11 o'clock. It's
duty free shop is here. You get your cheap bags.
Yeah, and then as you land, it's like, right, now you've got a taxi to this location and this, that, and the other, and
Sean, if you don't get permission, what happens? Do they like scramble fighter jets and stuff? Or,
you get 5 stars.
I don't know. I assume that you get a fine or something. I've no idea.
Can you do a stream, naughty pilot, where you go around doing all naughty things?
Or just land that permission.
It's like you land and they're like, this is highly irregular.
But yeah, like technically, it's. I've had a few crashes and stuff. I mean, I'm willing to blame that on my PC, but it's unbelievable. It's like you can't overstate. Like it is the entire planet, and like obviously in terms of the buildings and stuff, there's very very little of it is like hand modeled. Like obviously a lot of it's just from map data. And then it's sort of generated buildings, and we talked about this on the Patreon bonus show. Yeah, famously, like Buckingham Palace has just been converted into a block of flats, and there's been there's that one weird monolith where it turned out the map data had like the wrong number of floors for this one building.
Yeah, it's just a typo, wasn't it?
Yeah, so there's this one small building that was like fucking shooting up into the sky and stuff like that,
yeah.
But. It's close enough to be like, oh yeah, that's they say like everyone's done the thing of flying over where they grew up, and being like, oh yeah, that is a rough facsimile of what that street looked like, and it's not just
So I've got to ask. So it does this by pulling data from Bing Maps, right? And the other funny glitch that I've seen is obviously some of the satellite images it uses has planes flying over areas like that are caught in the photo or whatever, and you could just see them like. But if it's pulling from Bing Maps and the articles I've read, it does it live.
Oh, that's right. It does stream stuff
because you can
you can turn that setting
turn it off.
Thing. So what happens if you play it offline?
Well, so if you turn that sort of stuff off, you have like live weather, you have live other things. I presume has changed, but if you don't, it's just. I presume
right, so it's not actually pulling the map data.
I should hope not, because the game's about 90 gig.
I don't know if it's map data. I think it's more just like weather, and because you can say it says like real life weather.
Yeah, but I heard that if you don't limit that, then you're in trouble because the amount of data it's downloading while you're playing is really high.
I don't know.
That's why you can limit it. But I'd love to know, like how much of it is actually stored in the game and how much of it is.
Yeah, I mean, as Sean said, it's like a massive 96 gigabyte download.
Yeah.
Or 10 discs.
Or 10 discs. Yeah. As we all know.
I learned.
Yeah. It is a very wonderful thing. Like, undeniably.
It's just stunning just to look around the cockpits. They're so detailed, and it feels. It does feel kind of like next generation, where you can see, bits of leather and just like the detail on everything you see is incredible. Really, like I've spent time just sat in the cockpit looking around, and you can zoom in on all dials and see the move and this and that.
Imagine if it was boring game, like a traditionally like boring game like Flight Simulator, and Matt's just sitting there in the cockpit on the runway, just going, "This is great."
Yeah, it is incredible. I will say one thing. Obviously, I'm playing on PC, but I've been, as well as many other people, looking forward to the idea of this being on Series X and what that's going to be like. Even I don't know how it's going to work. So I've been playing on PC. You can play a keyboard, also you can play with a controller.
But you need
obviously
both,
when you're on keyboard,
don't you?
You need both basically, because even if you choose controller, there are still loads of things you need to do with a keyboard.
Oh, they'll find a way, man.
I
don't know, man.
No, but I mean, I do not know how they're going to do everything and have everything on a pad. I mean, even on the keyboard, there's like,
it would be
hold
really
down
simple.
4 keys, press another one, press another 2.
Yeah, I reckon it will be really simple like there'll be limitations to what you can do with just a controller, but we all know that you can plug a what's it in, don't we? You know that you can plug a keyboard into your...
You can.
Would you reckon they would sell like a proprietary controller for it for console?
Possibly, but I think they're more likely to do something with an app.
Oh yeah, that's true. That
links
could
up
work.
to your Xbox,
because you can. So so I have like my main monitor, and then I have this sort of small, like 7-inch one underneath it. So any of the the sort of the windows you have in your HUD. So I always play in third person, so all my sort of flight instruments are all in these little windows that I can drag around. So you can actually pop them out, and so then I put them on my other monitor.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, so on the bottom monitor, I've got like my map, like my satellite map, and like my comms panel, and a few other bits. Like I can just take them off the screen and just put them on the bottom, which is really nice. But like, Matt, how are you finding the loading times on this? Because I've installed this on my hard disk rather than my SSD, and it's fucking slow.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of people complain about the loading times. I mean, I've got mine like on a NVMe M.2 drive, and it's pretty speedy.
Right.
I mean, obviously there is a bit of a load at the beginning, but nothing egregious, nothing I would have said, God, the loading time's bad. I mean, I guess I kind of appreciate that this will have a longer loading time than, say, sort of plenty of other games I play.
Absolutely,
but
just because of the sheer
wasn't
scope of it, yeah. But it's
exactly. I don't mind, but I didn't notice a long loading time. But I've heard some people
How bad
say,
are we talking? Are we talking like a bit frustrating, or are we talking James's Xbox?
We're talking James's Xbox, 100%. Which again, like,
really?
Okay.
Is this supposed to be coming to the One X and Xbox One?
That's supposed to be.
I mean, Phil Harrison. No, Phil Spencer said it looks stunning on Series X, so it is coming.
No,
I bet it looks stunning on my one as well.
Oh, right. God knows.
I mean, One X would probably be all right if you accepted the load times, but I really can't see this running on the original Xbox One.
I can't wait to try. I can't wait to try.
Just get a new Xbox. It's all right. You're Microsoft, right? And you know that say this game is ready. Mm-hmm. Do you just at this point hold it out to the launch of the Series X?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean,
you do now, don't you? Now that Infinite's not there.
I mean, I'll say surprising because it's a flight simulator game, but this could be like a pretty awesome deal on Series X. Like, you get to play this game, which looks stunning on PC, and a lot of people.
And it's perfect.
It's not your traditional. Well, look at this exclusive, but it actually is. It's quite a cool, impressive game.
Yeah, it's a very good vehicle for a new console because it's like you say, it's just the technical side of it. And if you just want to show your mates what your new £500 console can do, then you just put all the assists on and go, there you go, find your fucking house or whatever. Like
that's where I bought it from.
Yeah.
I like a. Yeah, it's a perfect storm, isn't it, that game? Because for those people that want a really hardcore flight simulator experience, then this is there. But it's also got that up its sleeve, isn't it? That you got to see your house and that. Like, I think that's such a cool little thing. Do I think it's like mainstream? Everyone's going to love it. Probably not. They're going to look at it. They'll fly to somewhere they know and go, "Oh, that's nice," and that's it. But it is still, it's going to have a larger scope than flight simulators usually have.
Yeah. It's really relaxing as well. I mean, not just because it's great, sort of when you're flying and looking over the amazing landscapes or the sunrise or sunset, but like it's got really chill music in the menus.
Yeah.
It's just like a really nice, relaxing game, but you're also concentrating a lot to try and make sure you keep your plane in the air and stuff.
But again, it's
I've loved it so far.
Per session you might decide like, right, I want the full simulator experience, or you might not. You might just be like, I just want to fuck around and look at stuff actually. So fine, it's like every, whenever you load it up, you can just chop and change as you feel like it.
It's also got challenges. I haven't actually done these yet, but I know last week's challenge was like land on like the smallest airfield, or airfield. No, just land at the smallest airport basically in the world. And so there's gonna be a bunch of them, I think, over the next few weeks and months.
Cool.
It's really lovely.
But I'm fascinated to know what's like in console in terms of controls. I mean, yes, I know you can plug a keyboard into your Xbox. I get that, but even when I chose pad, I thought, pad only, but no, it's still need a keyboard for things.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, let me get mine out of the way. So after tapping out of Spiritfarer, I was like, okay, John's called me out for playing that instead of Spider-Man. Let's play Spider-Man. So I thought, okay, well, James had mentioned that it was on PS Now, and I had my free trial. So I went and checked it out. I thought it was 2 weeks or a month, but it turns out it was only 1 week. But I thought, okay, all right, well, I'll activate that for a week and play it for a bit. And then it come up on the PlayStation Store. Okay, to activate this, we need your card details. And I'm like, Sony are not good with card details, so I am not doing that. So I thought, well, sod it, I'll just get a prepaid card for a month and play it. So I downloaded PS Now, expecting it to be as good as Game Pass, as James has been saying.
I never said that.
I can guarantee I can find clips of it.
Okay, what did I say, Dave? How have I described it?
You said that it's just as good.
I have never said it's just as good as Game Pass.
You said the stuff that you've got on Game Pass, you said all that same stuff is on PS Now. That's what you said to me. No, okay.
A lot of it is.
No, okay, I disagree. But anyway, let's get to the point. I activated my card. I went onto the PS Now thing. I thought, that's weird. They haven't got Spider-Man on the front page. In fact, actually, on the trial, little image on the trial, there was Spider-Man on there. So I thought, okay, cool. Spider-Man's been taken off already. I mean, what was that? 4 months? It was on there
4 months, yeah, it was on there for 4 months.
So I was a little bit frustrated by that. But I thought, okay, Control I've wanted to play anyway. I wanted to play it on the Series X, but fine. I'll play it on the, not the Series X, on the Xbox One X. But I thought, okay, fine, I'll play it on the Pro. That is fine. So I downloaded that, and I went, oh yeah, James was saying that I can play this while it's downloading, right? So I'll do that. And then it comes up with a big error message. Yeah, they're two different save systems. So
you can technically play it. It just wouldn't help you out.
Well, it does say afterwards, you can transfer the save from one, from cloud to but that was a step too far because, it was just like, what's the fuck?
So you can do it.
You can, yeah, but you don't realise how easy all this stuff is on Xbox, James, because you don't use your Xbox. If you play a game on whatever,
I can't stream any games.
It's fine.
I can't stream any games on my Xbox, Dave.
Well, you just said last week that you can to your phone.
No, I can't. Okay, I can't. xCloud doesn't exist yet on my Xbox, does it?
No, but you said that there are loads of apps that already let you do that, right?
No, there are apps that let you control your Xbox from your phone or from your iPad
and stream it to your thing. But my point is, when xCloud comes in, I know I can play it, and then the save would just be transferred. It's those extra steps.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I thought, sod it. I'm not going to do that. I will play one of the insane amount of PS2 games that are going to be on there. There's about 12 games on there.
Either. I never
James,
said there was.
come on.
Dave, come on. There's 600 games on there. Okay. Just because they don't have loads of PS2 games, I never said that there were.
I'm going to have to go back and listen to this again because you do this a lot where you just change.
Go back and let me hear. And I want to hear me saying, okay, it has the whole PS2 back catalogue, including Guitaru Man on there.
It didn't.
I'm pretty certain I didn't say that.
Slow down. It didn't. I didn't say you said that. I said you said there are loads of PlayStation 2 games on there.
I said
like
there were
12.
PlayStation 2 games on there. I'm pretty certain.
Okay,
you can go back and you can find it. I know
check it
you
out.
love doing that, but whatever.
Anyway, I looked at the selection on there, James. Man, I've after my experience with this, I can safely say that no longer on this show are you going to be trying to defend PS Now and say it's just as good as Xbox.
I never said it was just as good. This is what's really annoying about this. I've said to you repeatedly that Game Pass obviously has like all the first-party games. It has all the new indie games and stuff like that. But if you want to check out like some older like PlayStation games and stuff, you can on this. I can
Not
play
PS2 though. Like what you mean specifically PS3, right?
If you want to play PS3 games, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Don't go into it for PS2 games, people. There's a warning for you
unless
there.
you want one of the 12 that are on there.
Am I getting this wrong? Because there's every chance that I got the wrong feeling when James was talking about PS Now. Matt, Sean,
So I actually also signed up for it.
Here we go.
This week, because based on the conversation we'd had the other week, because I was talking about how I was really enjoying streaming Xbox stuff to my phone, and foolishly assumed that PlayStation Now, that allows you to stream stuff, would let me do it to my phone, but it doesn't, does it? It's just to console, or you can do it on your PC, but you have to install the app first. So I was a bit disappointed by that, and I thought, well, you know what? At least I can set up streaming, from my console to my phone, if nothing else. Only works with DualShock controllers. You can't just use other Bluetooth ones, whereas the xCloud app doesn't care. Any Bluetooth controller's fine. So that was a bit annoying as well. So I bought like a third-party app for streaming from my console to my phone, and I will be cancelling my PlayStation Now trial. So yeah.
I mean, go back to my original question though, Sean. Was James bigging it up?
Yeah. Sorry, James.
Look, if you want to play stuff like Metal Gear Solid and stuff like that, like I'm interested in playing a load of stuff that I hadn't played before. So that's good.
I should highlight Metal Gear Solid's been on Game Pass for about a year, but carry on.
Okay, so you can play Metal Gear Solid 4 on Game Pass, can you, Dave?
You can play 1 and 2 on there. They've had 1, 2, and 3, I think.
That's actually, you can't now because it's coming off Game Pass this month. I checked.
Yeah, I know, because it's been on there for about a year and a half, hasn't it? Four months, James, for Spider-Man. Are you kidding me?
I'm not defending that. I'm not saying that's good. This is what annoys me, right? I'm not saying that this is amazing and this is really good and this is good as Game Pass, but there are some reasons why you'd want to use it. Like I know you don't want to use it because
you've got Game Pass. If you haven't got Game Pass, that's
exactly.
the reason you'd want to use it.
If you've got a PlayStation and you haven't got an Xbox, you haven't got Game Pass, it's not a bad deal for £50 for a year, whereby you can play. I'd be playing with the kids like Harry Potter games and stuff like that on there. Like this is what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's the best thing ever, but there is a usage case for it. Like it's not completely pointless. It's not Google
sure
Stadia.
There is, but
that's
when
what I'm saying.
When you compare the two services, it's shocking how bad that is compared to Game Pass. It just is. I was surprised actually, but based on what you've said in the past, based definitely on their discussion last week.
I still, I'm not sure I agree with you there because I was looking through like what's actually available on Game Pass. There's 100 games, right? A lot of the games that are available on Game Pass are also available on PlayStation Now as well. The only things. No, you can check. I mean, because if you look, stuff like, for example, like the Metro games, they're on Game Pass, they're on PlayStation Now. There's tons of crossover because it's pretty clear. Like Game Pass has a lot of like B tier games, as does PlayStation Now, because that's how these services are now. They're the big publishers like Ubisoft, all those kind of things, they're not going to put all their newest stuff on those services. Instead, you get all like the old stuff they just put on there. The big difference is that Game Pass absolutely has, and I totally agree with you, is it has all the new first-party Microsoft games, if they ever release any, but it also has the indie games, which is a big deal. That is brilliant.
Which release, they tend to release day one on that thing.
Exactly, yeah, which is brilliant. I'm not saying that's not a really good thing, but if you look at the actual other stuff that's on there, like just the regular stuff, they're pretty similar, honestly. There's not much difference between them. There really isn't.
All right. Okay. Obviously I'm not going to sign up for another month. I'm going to play Control. Anyway, that's where I'm leading to. I started Control this week, which is a game I've wanted to play for ages, and I know you both, James and Matt, have played through it. And do you know what? I'm finding it incredibly frustrating.
Yeah,
really?
Because
how so?
I really enjoy playing it. Like the actual playing of it is really good. I heard the shooting wasn't that great. Like it was an average shooter, but I'm finding the shooting combining with the powers that you pick up to be really, really exciting. I think it looks great. I think it plays really well. I just feel like all the other stuff that it wraps around, like, is actually annoying and pulls me away from the stuff that I like
the
doing.
narrative stuff or the exploration?
The narrative stuff and the exploration. Like the exploration's
exactly,
weird because it's like you walk around and it just goes there, over there, there's something. And you're like with these huge like visual clues you're not discovering anything. You walk into a room and a massive like symbol comes up on the screen and then zooms to a thing that you can go and collect or open up or a power up or something. And it's like, okay, if you're like working towards an objective, there's this like weird visual glitch thing that happens to say, go over here now. It's like, oh, okay, which I think the game needs because, you're walking around offices. So it's kind of like everything
I actually
looks
found,
like really...
I mentioned this the other week, I found navigation actually really difficult. I'm wondering if they've patched that to make it more obvious.
Possibly.
It was easily the worst part of it around launch. It was just hard to know where you were going.
Yeah, possibly.
That was the biggest problem I had was navigation, and I didn't find the story very interesting. But the combat and all that kind of stuff was pretty good. I enjoyed that.
Is the story trying to be like David Lynch style?
Yes, it is. Yes, very much.
Because it is kind of like I'm sure I'm not spoiling anything, but like 1 minute I'm going to find my brother, and then everyone's calling me the controller, and then the director or whatever, and then all this weird stuff's happening. The conversations about what's going on in this bureau, and
it's almost like a fever dream or something, isn't it?
It really is.
It's that whole sort of like, should I already
know
know this?
Yeah,
it's like there's lots of things like, should I already know about something? And it feels
I
like
absolutely
there's
loved it for that, and I loved like that mystery.
Why do you love
mystery
it for that?
Combined with all lots of the environmental storytelling with like the things you pick up, the videos you see.
You need to, in my opinion, you need to earn mystery. You can't just walk into a thing and weird stuff happens and mystery, because it loses any sort of confusion. You're just like, am I supposed to be following this? Am I not? What's the point? What? You need to earn mystery. If you're going,
loads of things like books and films, like it's just mysterious and often you're trying to piece it together as you go along. This is that. I mean,
I suppose it's the difference between mystery and just not being told key bits of information, I guess, right? And it's not always.
It's easy to go, your name's Brian now. Look at that thing that's spinning around in the middle of the room. Anyway, let's move on. You go, okay, there's just weird shit happening, is there? That's not mystery, that's just weird shit happening. There's a difference in my head.
I think there is a mystery. I mean, that's why I love the game. Like,
but what I'm saying is that good writing should make you go, fucking hell, what is that spinning thing up there? And why are you calling me Brian? In this game, it didn't do that for me at all. It was kind of like...
How far are you into the game?
About 2-3 hours, I think.
Okay, cool, yeah.
I've beat the first boss, and what am I doing now? I did the puzzle where you like press the light switch loads of times.
Yeah, that happens.
But even that was that was kind of like okay, and everything's sort of putting me on edge, which is interesting but also irritating.
I'm glad you said that because I don't mean this as a criticism, but I found it just weirdly unsettling.
I'm finding it massively unsettling.
Like it was a place.
That's part of it.
No, absolutely, yeah, and I think it's absolutely played for by the devs. So well done. But
I think most importantly, I enjoyed the fighting, like the shooting, so much and the action so much that every time it was drifting away into Weird World, I was kind of like, nah, man, I just want to get back to the shooting. I'm really enjoying that bit. Why have I got to be in this hallway that keeps changing or the colours keep going weird and stuff like that? It's I'm going to plough on with it and see how I get on.
Story, right? I mean, Have you?
Yeah, but it's not telling me a story. That's the point. If it was doing something to lead me down a path and grab my attention, then fine. But if it's just going weird shit, like bizarre, it's kind of like, okay, that's just irritating. Like,
I mean, Dave, it does do that. Things do become like sort of clearer, like as things go on. But I still feel it never really becomes interesting. Like, I never found any of that interesting at all. But yeah, that's just.
Does it chill out with that? Does it turn into an action game a little bit more?
Not really.
I mean, it's a mysterious, weird story all the way through, but like the action, I think, gets better as you get more abilities and chain more things together.
I'll tell you what, though, you're in luck because I think they've patched quite a lot of stuff that was really irritating as well towards the end of the game. Like, so that you'll have a better experience than I did with it. Because when I got by the time I was at the end of the game, I was like, I never want to play this again because of what happens towards the end. It's ridiculous.
I love the game, but I was definitely frustrated as fuck the last few bits. But
how long is it?
Don't know. 12 hours.
20 odd hours.
Varies, doesn't it? It depends how much you want to do, I think. But yeah,
that's a shame because I am definitely not paying for another month of PS now. So, I don't know if I will finish it, but whatever. It's been a strange one.
Apparently, main story is 11.5 hours.
Okay, cool. I might just blitz it then. We'll see. I mean, if you
reckon avoid all this, you will. Let me know. I mean, because I should play it anyway, but it might give me a kick up the arse if I know you're going to talk about it next week or whatever.
Yeah, I'll let you know. The problem is the other game I've been playing this week has just been taking over my life a little bit.
Just before we go on to that, I know there's lots of controversy over like the next gen upgrades for Control, but hearing it's £30, I think I might get that just to see what it's like on next gen and play the DLC.
I mean, it'll definitely like seeing some of the stuff it does if you're running it on a high end PC. Ludicrous.
The ray tracing looks stunning anyway, and so. But I didn't play the DLC because I sold the game after I finished it, and hearing it's £30, I mean. I get it's like I get why people are pissed off about the whole situation, but yeah, I think
let's face it. What else are you going to be playing on those systems? Know what I mean?
The UI.
I mean, Fall Guys has taken over my life. That is the experience I've had with that over the past week has been nothing short of mind blowing for me because. You know, I've been looking forward to this game for a long time. Since the first time I saw it, I love the concept. I love the idea behind it. I had my own concerns about how good it was actually going to be. And some of the pre-release stuff that I saw was kind of like, oh my God, is this going to be actually quite cringe when it comes out, how bad it is. And then it came out and I played a few games and I was like, this is good fun. I will have fun with this for a week. And now we're 3 weeks in and I'm just like fucking every chance I get I stick it on for a few rounds because it's just so good. It really like I've sort of held back from saying that the past 2 weeks because I wasn't convinced that I was worried the concept was better than the game.
Yeah.
But then the more you play it, the more you realise they absolutely nailed it. You know, everyone's got their own favourite. Everyone's got their own least favourites. The idea that the yellow team is despised by most Fall Guy players now is funny. The fact that it's blown up the way it has. I enjoy watching people play it on Twitch and stuff. I enjoy streaming it. I mean, I've done loads of streams. And yeah, I'm raking in the crowns, which must be helping. You know, I'm in the final quite regularly, and so that sort of helps the enjoyment of it. I think if I was going out first couple of rounds every time I played, maybe I'd pass on it. But what a game, and it's great to see a game blow up like that. You know what I mean? It's we were talking briefly before the show about it, and we sort of mentioned that it's look, I don't think this is going to be anywhere near as big as Fortnite or Apex Legends or anything like that. But seeing a game get this much exposure, to be on the front page of the BBC News website saying, look at this, everyone's playing this. And to hear kids that usually only talk about Fortnite, Minecraft, maybe Apex Legends, now going, I want to play that Fall Guys. Everyone's playing that Fall Guys. I want to play that. Is pretty cool, man. And No Clip. I highly recommend an interview No Clip Danny O'Dwyer did with the devs, because it's fascinating hearing them talk about it. You know, what their thought process of what they wanted to do, and ideas that they have, and they definitely seem to be going down the right track with, hey, we're going to release a ton. Not only are we going to release a ton of new levels, we're constantly going to modify the existing ones. Cool. Because we want people to get to the point where they feel they've got a handle on a level and surprise them, you know, to have various different variations. Thank God they finally added invert controls so I can play it normally now. But yeah, I'm surprised, James, at you the most that you haven't been all over this, to be honest with you. It just seems so up your street.
No, I will play it. It's just I've had other things that I've been getting through, and I just haven't had time, really.
You'll love it, man. You'll love it.
Did you see that thread by the creative director, Jeff Tanton? He did a massive thread about how him and Alex pitched the idea and came up with the whole thing. It's really fascinating to see.
I think I've probably seen all that.
Yeah, and it showed the screenshots and what they did and how they made it, and they got the prototype up really quickly. And yeah, it's amazing to see the game do as well as it has.
I'm pretty sure I've seen all that stuff though, because I saw a hell of a lot of dev interviews before the game had even come out, like months ago. Where they were going through that stuff, and you know they showed a lot of the Fall Guys. I think it was like every Friday afternoon. It was like everyone down tools, we're playing it all afternoon, and they would have competitions within the office, and you know a physical crown that would get passed around and all that sort of stuff. Just because it's the sort of game that you have to play test over and over again to get a handle on it. But yeah, I mean, what a game. And, I'm really interested to see when the Xbox and Switch versions get announced, because I'm convinced that they will do. And I am pretty certain that it will be next month, because they've clearly done a deal with Sony to get this on PS Plus. And I think that deal will only last that first month, because there's a risk. Sony didn't know it was going to blow up this much. I mean, no one could have predicted that it would get this popular, but clearly it has. So Microsoft will want that on Game Pass, won't they?
I think it's still topping the charts on Steam as well.
Yeah, still top four. Both versions are still in the top four. I think at one point over last weekend it was like both versions of Flight Sim 1 and 2, and then Fall Guys were like 3 and 4 or something.
And I was looking on Twitter today. If you search Fall Guys Xbox, there was a tweet 27 seconds ago. Please finally bring Fall Guys to Xbox. 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute, 3 minutes. Xbox, please. Will you get? It's literally every minute they're getting tweets about bringing it to Xbox.
I forget that it's not on Xbox. It's
crazy, isn't it?
It's one of those. You think, it must be. It's everywhere. It must be on everything. But no,
they absolutely did the right thing to bring this to PS Plus, the biggest user base. Bring it to PS Plus, get it out there initially, so all those PlayStation players can download it for free. Really hammer it on Twitch. Try and get Twitch streamers. They said specifically in the Danny O'Dwyer interview, they have not paid a penny to any content creators to play their game on Twitch, or any streaming platform. They're not paying anyone to sort of promote it. What they did do though was say, "Hey, we'll give you a ton of keys to give away on your stream for this." So, so that's clearly worked, because as a streamer, you'd be thinking, giving away keys to the game that I'm playing is a pretty good way to get some viewers in and stuff. So yeah, I'm up for that. And it's worked, hasn't it? It's spread like wildfire. And I really hope that they've got enough backlog to just go, here we go, here's a bunch of new stuff. I'm really surprised by how quickly they've brought out new levels for it. It's only one, but it's still faster than I thought it would be. I'm also surprised to hear they've got some big announcement on Thursday for Season 2.
Yeah,
game's only been out 3 weeks.
Yeah, so on Opening Night Live, which is Jeff Keighley's like 2 or 3 hour, I think a 3-hour show at the start of Gamescom. The digital event, obviously, is not the actual Gamescom itself isn't happening. Yeah, it's like a sneak peek of season 2, and I think as we were speaking before the pod, like, yeah, that'll be a good time for them to say season 2's here, Xbox version's coming on a certain date, blah blah blah.
It would be, but can they do that? I mean, if it's still PS Plus exclusive, I'd love to know what the deal is. You would assume that the deal would be they can't announce it for the other consoles.
Yeah, maybe not. Yeah,
that's done. But yeah, I'd be fascinated to see what happens on Thursday. But I mean, yeah, I what I thought was going to be a flash in the pan for me has turned out to be a bit of an obsession. But yeah, I can't recommend it enough. If you've got a PlayStation PS Plus and you've not downloaded this game, then just do it, because free, innit? And it's actually a banger now that the servers seem to be completely stable. It's
and again, it's it's one of those that you can take what you want from it. Like, you don't have to get into it that much to have a laugh with it. Like if you just want to treat it as an incredibly casual thing, you totally can.
Yeah, I mean, God, and again, going back to that interview on NoClip, they specifically said, we don't want to be a esport. Yeah. This is not a pro game. Mm-hmm. Like, we're not expecting huge tournaments. The beauty of the game is that a lot of it is down to luck. And because it's down to luck, you've always got a chance.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I really hope they keep the content coming out for that. And because it needs it definitely needs it. But my word, yeah, great stuff, and that's what I've been playing this week. Matt, did you have anything else?
The other thing I've been playing, I've got back into Beat Saber because there was a Linkin Park pack that came out last week with I think it's 11 songs. It's the first pack I've really bought of Beat Saber. I really love Beat Saber, but the music, although it was fine, I never truly massively got into it. I never truly loved the soundtrack like I did with things like Tetris Effect or ARX in Res and whatnot. But and I've wanted more sort of rock songs. I know there is like a Panic at Disco music pack and maybe a Green Day one as well, which I didn't buy, but I used to love Linkin Park. I've been a fan for a long time, so I bought this, and I'm really impressed with how much of a massive workout this game is. I know that's certainly nothing new, but I haven't played it for so long, and playing this and like going through the tracks, I was absolutely wrecked by the end of it. But the tracks are so fun to play, and I'm still only playing on like medium. So I haven't even got to like the expert plus stuff, and I'm not sure I'll ever be able to. I mean, I'm sure we've all seen those Beat Saber videos on Twitter and YouTube where I can't even comprehend how some people are doing some of the stuff I've seen in this game. But even playing on medium is immensely fun, basically because I love the track so much. And it's a really good pack. I think it's like £14 or 12 or 14 quid or something, so it wasn't much. I was worried it'd be a lot more. But yeah, for 11 tracks, it's brilliant. One thing, so I haven't played that much Beat Saber. I played a fair bit, but Sean, can you create playlists in this game?
Yeah, well, I think you basically just set your favourites, right, and then
right, okay, because I was trying to work out a way. Okay, I just want to play all these in a row. Like, how can I do that? Okay, so it's done by favourites?
I don't think it. Yeah, so you can set your favourites playlist, but I don't think it just plays them consecutively. I think you still have to come back out the menu and then choose the next one.
Because last week when you were talking about that Fit XR, you said like it basically plays those things in a row, and I was like, okay, I've bought this music pack of 11 tracks. I want to now play all these in a row, like set a playlist, repeat whatever I need to do, but I couldn't find a way to do it.
I wonder if someone's
kind of annoying.
I wonder if someone's done a mod for that.
Well, it feels like such a basic thing that it should be in anyway. That I feel like I must be stupid, but I'll investigate about the favourite thing. But I mean, as a fan of Linkin Park and a fan of Beat Saber, it's absolutely immensely fun. I've been playing this a fair bit last week, and I've been trying to do it every single day, like a good workout for 20 minutes, half an hour. It certainly gets the blood pumping, and it's just awesome having like more rocky tracks and not just loads of EDM, which is fine at certain points, but
because most of the soundtrack is basically one guy, isn't it? It's one of the devs.
Oh really? Yeah, okay.
Yaroslav
Beck. It sounds so samey, exactly. But I was like, maybe it's just because not fully au fait with like the genre. I mean, I have listened to it in the past and I've liked it, but I don't exactly know loads of artists within EDM or whatever the genre is. But yeah, I was over the moon. I bought this like straight away when I heard there's a Linkin Park pack, and I hope there's more. I hope there's more like tracks where it's like more rock and rather than just EDM. But yeah, if you're in any way like a Linkin Park fan, and you got Beat Saber, this is like a near essential purchase. I think I've absolutely bloody loved it. I really want them to release loads more, but
yeah, I'm assuming it's all available for the PS VR.
Yeah, so it's on. There's one pack's available on wherever Beat Saber is. Yeah, so PSVR, Quest, Rift, and Vive or whatever it's on. Yeah, absolutely brilliant.
Cool.
You should try that, Sean.
Yeah, well, of course, if it's it's on the Oculus account, yeah.
Cool, and that's it. Yeah, I mean, I'm playing like little tiny bits here and there. I started playing a little bit of like UFC because it's on EA Access, but I've got nothing to say about it because I barely scratched the surface. But that's about it for me this week.
James?
I've got very little this week because it's all stuff that I've talked about before already. I mean, I finished Ghost of Tsushima, and I finished it with like 90% of the trophies, which that never really happens before. But
that is incredible.
I don't really have much.
So much to do.
Are you not
tempted
in that game now just to crack on the last bit, seeing as you're so close? I mean, how many? So you did like what? So many of the original, the first few areas, like side missions. At that point, didn't you think, I might as well carry on and do all of them at this point?
Well, I did, I did all the side missions. I did all the main stuff, obviously, all the mythical stories and all that kind of stuff. The only stuff that I'm really missing is cosmetic things, like you can get like more sort of colours for costumes and stuff like that, and these banners. I just can't be bothered because it's like a lot. That going across the whole map all over again. I just don't think I can. I don't think I really care enough to do that. But I had a very good time with it, and as I said earlier, it is basically an Assassin's Creed game, I think, but it's really good, and I'm looking forward to the update. I mean, I'm still hoping Sean will be able to play that.
Yeah, definitely.
Because that's it was very good, very enjoyable game. The only other things I played is I played A Short Hike, which as I said, which I don't, and that turned out to be a very pleasant experience.
Oh, it's fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's like, I'll tell you what I did like is that the island to me felt a bit like an onion, in that you just sort of. Well, I felt I felt as I was exploring it, like you feel like you had the measure of it, and then discovering like a massive other area which I wasn't expecting was going to be there and things like that. I thought it was good. I really enjoyed it. I mean, even though I finished the game like inverted commas, I've still gone back like a couple of times to see if I can find some more other stories. I mean, I like the the beach ball one. I thought that was great. Yeah,
I think, as I said, it feels like a vertical slice of those style of games, where it takes all little elements from the sort of Zelda-style action-adventure things, and then just puts them in a really condensed setting, all really close to each other. And I think it works perfectly for that.
Yeah, and it's just perfect kind of length as well, I felt. I I got to the top and I felt this is I felt this is a good achievement, but then still with thinking I would like a bit more though, to have a look around and stuff. It was very good.
So the perfect length that you wanted a bit more of. Okay, fine.
Well, no, it's the perfect length in terms of like narrative, but there still was opportunity to explore as well, which is nice.
Cool.
But anyway, the other thing I played is I played Battletoads, which I streamed that on Friday last week, and I wish I hadn't because it's not a very fun game, I think, to watch somebody else play, because it's not great, but it's not awful, like by any stretch of the imagination. And I mean, the combat is reasonably fun, but there are sections of it that make it very irritating, particularly like they try and sort of do the stuff from the original game, like with the like riding bikes like through tunnels and stuff. That was like a big thing from the original game, even though I never played it, but I've always heard about like this this tunnel and how difficult it was and stuff. So they kind of emulate that, but it's really boring and it goes on for far, far too long, and it feels like you're playing a Flash game because you're basically just like going from left to right to like avoid obstacles, and it just goes on for so long and it's just incredibly boring. And it's funny because as I was playing it, when I was going through the fighting sections, I was saying, I could do with a bit more variety now. And then it did that, and then I was like, well, this is awful. And then people were saying, well, look, you're moaning that it's like, different, it's different. They've tried different things. I was like, yeah, but it's not very good. and it's not very interesting, and it's not very sort of exciting to play. And I mean, the music is relentlessly awful, like throughout. It's just like sort of like thrash metal, like horrible guitar, like stuff, which is just dreadful. And it's also very chaotic in places. Like it starts to feel like Smash Brothers. And you see, the thing I like, really, really, really like about brawlers is when you have the opportunity to sort of like plan what you're doing. And even though things are moving reasonably quickly, like particularly in like the Streets of Rage games, you still feel like you're making decisions about how you're going to attack and stuff like that, and when people are coming at you. In this, it just feels like chaos, which I know some people really like, but I don't like so much. But it was okay. It looks amazing. Some of the humour actually hits, which is quite impressive. Like
I've
in
heard
the beginning,
there's like tons of jokes in it that I didn't. Yeah.
And some of it, I mean, right at the start of the game, it's not great. Like it's self-referential, but not very funny at all. But then there's a couple of bits which, the humour does hit, and you're like, yeah, that's pretty funny. That's raised a smile. Which
I
is
was
pretty
listening
good.
to Special Moves this morning, and they mentioned that there are jokes about Sea of Thieves in there and stuff.
Mm-hmm. I think it's there, but there's a lot of jokes about like previous games and like the fact that they're sort of like these characters have come back. Why? Like what's the point of these characters come back? Which was pretty good. I quite enjoyed all that sort of stuff, but there wasn't enough there. I didn't feel to want to go back to it to finish it. I mean, I know it's not a very long game, but I've got no intention of going back. I think it would be a lot more fun if you were playing with someone else. That would be great, but unfortunately, there's no online co-op, which makes no sense.
Bizarre.
Yeah, it's like 2020. There's no online co-op, and I don't understand why there isn't any online co-op, because even like tiny indie studios manage to do that.
It's not easy, but it's worthwhile.
Yeah, and this is like a game backed by Microsoft.
Have they announced, but have they commented on why?
No, I've not seen anything about that. But it's and also, I mean, the thing that everyone points out all the time is releasing like a couch co-op game during a pandemic.
Yeah.
It's probably not a great idea. It's you're not going to have the opportunity to play with others anyway. But it would be probably a lot more fun if you played that way. But it's all right. But it wasn't.
Might have a
wasn't
brother or
special.
sister.
Could do.
Could do.
Yeah. But that was it. Yeah, that's it really. That's all I played this week. Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Although I did just buy Vader Immortal, so I'm going to play that this week.
Oh, you'll
like
that's
that. Just come out on PSVR. Yeah.
So Vader Immortal on PSVR. So what episodes have you bought? Because just episode 1, or how does it work on PSVR?
No, it's a package. It's like £21, and I think it's like 3 or 4 episodes or something.
Really?
I can't remember.
I think there's 3 episodes. Yeah. So on the Oculus they're like £8 each. So
yeah,
that's all right.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, then. Okay, well, that's what we've been planning this week. Let's get to the Q&A.
Q&A.
We always
get fired up for the Q&A.
Shut up. You shut up. That's how we're introducing it from now on.
If you want to send us a Q for us to A, send it to tcgs.co/.
You want to stick your Q up our way?
Get your F's away from my A, mate. No sis said, if you had to make a crisp sandwich, which crisp are you using? Sorry, I've gone in on the wrong one here. This should have been the funny one at the end,
that's
but
fine.
never mind. Here we are.
That is fine.
Start strong.
I've never been a fan of the crisp sandwich thing. I know people are like, oh, crisp sandwich, man. I'm kind of like, nah,
I'd always thought
that was never a thing for me.
I'm sure I've done it, but it's just a bit of a silly joke, isn't it?
What do you mean? How's it a silly joke? It's
Here we
nice.
go. Look, that's one of those.
It's not a silly joke.
It's not meal, is it?
I do like adding the texture.
Yeah,
it's
all about
it's
texture,
nice to have
really.
it.
I mean, my answer is probably just Seabrook's Ready
Do
Salted.
you butter them? Do you butter them?
What, the crisps?
Not
the crisps, you fucking hell.
That's what I was going to say. You like butter the crisps individually. I just...
James, what are you doing, mate?
It's because you said butter them.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what are you talking about, Dave?
The 2 slices of bread, the sandwiches that you eat. Come on, why would you jump to the conclusion of buttering each crisp?
I mean, to be fair, we're talking about the crisps. The bread's never really come up.
Exactly. We're not talking about the bread.
Okay, all right. Okay, so his logic is absolutely fine.
I mean,
then,
it's not, because you should then think, well, no, because it's ridiculous to ask if we should be buttering crisps.
That's why I said, what, the crisps?
Okay.
That's why I said, what, the crisps? Yeah.
So,
do you butter the sandwich when you put crisps in it, James?
Well, I haven't done it for years. I probably would, though.
Did you? Fucking hell, mate. Jesus Christ. That was like a tutorial to Spiritfarer.
Me personally, I wouldn't have a crisp sandwich, but I have been known to put crisps in a sandwich. So,
so you've already bought a sandwich?
Ordered a sandwich. What sandwich?
Well, I don't know. I might go like a meal deal. I'm like, okay, open that, bang some Walkers in.
What else is in that?
Time for our life hack. Let's guess.
What else is in that?
What do you mean, what else is in that?
Sandwich.
Like, what fucking sandwich did you order in your meal?
Dave, why are you so angry about
what's wrong with you, Dave?
Because every question I'm asking, it sounds like everyone's deliberately trying to avoid the fucking point.
Yeah, because you're asking stupid questions.
What sandwich did you... Why is that a stupid question?
Because, Dave, Tesco has a wide variety of sandwiches.
Well, not wide enough, because there's no crisps on any of them.
Which one did you fucking order, and which one did you put a crisp in?
Ploughman's? I don't know. What's it?
What do you mean, what's it matter? Surely it matters what else is in the sandwich before you whack a crisp in there.
No, I'll whack a crisp in any sandwich.
What, a single crisp or more than that?
Fuck off, James. I'm not in the mood now. You're really winding me up. No, that's weird.
Let's answer the question. What crisps?
Pickled onion Monster Munch.
Oh, wow.
Nah, too big. I mean, personally,
the crisp has got to be complimentary.
Yeah,
not
I mean, like a Ray Salted Walker.
Yeah.
Complimentary.
Yeah, can't overpower the sandwich.
Yeah,
exactly. You can't overwhelm it. And a pickled onion
David, come on. You think of the amount of butter you'll need to wrap around a Monster Munch. Come on.
Yeah, really.
That'd be daft.
I mean, I quite like putting French fries as in the crisps. In, like salt and vinegar, Ray Salted with French fries in a nice Ploughman's sandwich from Tesco. That's what I do. You've got to do something to jazz up.
Surely it doesn't matter what sandwich it is. You just make the... I don't know why you specified a sandwich there.
Well, because you're asking about a sandwich. It doesn't matter. Any sandwich works.
Okay, good. James?
Well, if you've got like a ham sandwich, I wouldn't say no to some like Walker's crisps or whatever. Just really salted.
This is alien to me, this. This is weird to me.
So when you have a meal deal, you don't do that. You just don't think, jazz off a bit.
No, what I do is I eat the sandwich... and then I open the packet of crisps, and then eat the crisps.
Yeah. But you see, I wouldn't. That's the thing, though. I wouldn't do it with a meal deal. I'd do it if I was at home,
and no one was there to shame you.
Do it with a meal deal. What if you took the meal deal home, though, James?
Because if I was doing a meal deal, I'd be buying like a packet of crisps that I wouldn't likely have at home.
Could you imagine going to a lecture?
Yeah, exactly. It's a treat.
Doing the lecture is sitting there with his sandwich and popping a couple of crisps in there. I'll be like, "Can I
want a refund?
Have my money back,
do that.
please?"
These would be pre-made at home if I was going to do this, which I wouldn't do.
With people.
I mean, meal deals are depressing as hell, so you've got to jazz them up somehow, and that's your way.
What are you talking about? Meal deals are the best things ever.
Oh no, I go to Tesco. I'm like, just kill me. That's why.
What?
There's a Tesco near work, and I was like, I can't go in here again and look at this shitty selection of sandwiches and get.
I know what you mean, because I'm the same with Asda. Every time I go in, I'm just like,
yeah, like I've eaten 55. I've eaten every one of these 50 times. It's like,
wait, hold on, slow down. Do you reckon the range is worse up north than it is down south then? Because you literally go into any Tesco local here, and any idea that you've got for a sandwich, it's got it on the shelf.
Crisps.
Well, no, of course it's the same range, but
it's got about 14 different types of tuna sandwiches for a start. If you want tuna on its own, or tuna with cucumber, or tuna with
it won't take like a month, and you can get through the entire selection.
Yeah.
Okay, can we move on, because this is all very local radio?
Yeah, this is very local radio, actually, isn't it? You're right. Go on, let's go to the next one.
Pasta, we're talking about sandwiches, not pasta.
No, but that's in the meal deal, though, Matt.
Fuck that.
A Boots meal deal is the last bargain on earth, mate. Because you can get one of them fucking
these days?
superfood drinks with it that are supposed to cost about £3 on their own, never mind with anything else.
I can't. I've tried that's the worst sandwich though, right? The Boots one.
Do you reckon?
Oh no way! No, I think they're up there with the best.
right.
They always have new additions.
No,
the buffalo chicken one is well nice.
No, not for me. I think the bread's always like, who cares, right? You're right. We'll come back in some. Next, we're going to do weather. What's the weather up, Lou? Next,
Maria Mendiet says, "Dear members of the TCGS Body Corporate."
She's running out of ideas. This is
still
on the way now.
I want to see how this can go. Laughs if we get another one next week.
Going from strength to strength. Well, Matt was dearly missed. The episode was thoroughly enjoyable. My question this week is about legacy within the gaming industry. Why is Miyamoto still held up as a genius designer to this day? If a quick search on Wikipedia is to be believed, he hasn't directed a game since Mario 64, and recently has been revealed as the mastermind behind the limited character roster in the Paper Mario games. John Romero was a luminary, but his relevance in the landscape of modern game design has been reassessed. Is it time to do the same with Miyamoto? Keep up the fantastic work. Sincerely, Maria.
Yeah, get him in a bin.
I thought Romero was still fondly thought of. He's still quite active, isn't he?
Yeah, he's fondly thought of, but it's because he threw his career down the toilet, didn't he, with Daikatana?
Have you ever played that?
No one's ever forgotten that. Yeah.
I would say the Beatles are quite well respected. They've not released an album in ages.
What's up with that?
But it's supposed with Miyamoto. It's supposed to be the influence he has on production and all that, and what's going on.
Yeah, he still
generation.
Advises on tons of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, which means he did advise on Wii Music.
Like Nintendo have released a game in months.
That's true.
That's also true. Yeah.
I mean, he must do something.
There's no proof. All he's doing is measuring things. I don't rate him.
No, crucially, doesn't measure him.
You don't rate him because you've never played one of his games, Matt.
Well, that's technically untrue. You know that. It's literally untrue.
We can check that. He's a legend.
Yeah,
that's it. There's not many legends in there. I mean,
no, we're running out.
Look at the industry, but there's not many though, is there? When you think about it, even like you look at Yuji Naka or whatever, doesn't even come close.
Yeah,
there's not many legends that are held up to his level. But when you think, oh, he created Zelda and Mario, that's enough. But he's also created a lot more as well. So, yeah, no, I can see why he's still held up, and I'm glad that he is.
Is it Inafune who did Resident Evil? Is that him?
I can't remember his name. I don't think so. It was the guy that also did that Evil Within, right?
That was fuck me, I've forgotten his name.
Okay, where am I?
Legend.
Absolute legend.
Yeah. Legend. Sorry, yeah.
Matt, if you have to ask if they did that game, then they're probably not a legend status.
Wait a minute. Inafune did Mighty Number 9. He is
That's
not a legend.
He's the Mega Man guy, isn't he?
Right.
Or one.
Well, legend.
Absolute legend.
Matt, who's top dog for you?
I mean, it has to be Cliffy B.
Good shout.
What's he up to now? We know.
Lambo tunes. Right.
Shinji Mikami. Shinji Mikami was the Evil Within and other excellent games. He was the Resident Evil 4 guy, crucially. But yeah.
Legend. David Cage, check. Sessions, Everett Key.
God.
Sorry, it's me, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I'm really tired. Last one. Colin Ross Wilson says, I appreciate that you lads are doing a lot, but...
Definitely not the last one. You can't say, sorry, I'm really tired. Last one.
No, this is actually the last
we
one.
know there's another 8 in there.
It says, can I ask, has Sean binned off the idea of playing that game where he can make children work? I also know that Sean does a lot more streams through the day that I can't get to see, so I may have missed that happening. Thank you. Well, no, I haven't been doing ones during the day. But no, I haven't binned off the idea of streaming more Frostpunk. I do really want to do that. It's just...
it's Frostpunk,
yeah. So last week, I had to edit the podcast on Tuesday night and it ended up getting missed. The stream ended up getting missed. And then, now we're recording on Tuesday night. I do want to try and do one on another night. It's just, time. Plus, it's a busy week this week, so... Might not happen. But I haven't binned Frostpunk at all. I'm really keen to stream more of it. So that's it. That is it.
Okay, cool. That's us for the week. We hope you liked it. Please let us know that you liked it on our Discord or Twitter or whatever. Let us know what you thought of this episode. And we haven't said this for a while, but you know, a little cheeky what is
iTunes
it?
Review.
Podcast review on iTunes or whatever it is. That does help us out. It does actually help us out. So, if you get the chance and you can go on Apple Podcasts or whatever it's called these days, then please send one our way. Matt, socials.
Yeah, it's a massive week this week. Thursday night.
James, socials.
No, I'm okay. Go on.
Go on.
Yeah, so Thursday night, we are going to talks over for Gamescom's opening night live. This is the Jeff Keighley produced. I think it's a 3-hour show. There's going to be like new game announcements, trailers, all sorts of stuff. Right now it's probably going to start with just me because I want to do it, and then the others will join throughout the night.
Yeah, I'm hoping because I've got prep to do for Friday. My hope is that I can do most of that tomorrow, in which case I'll be with you for the whole thing. I hope.
Sweet. That's an early show. So the show actually starts at 7, so we'll be live from like 10 to 7 on our Twitch. And then, that's 7 till 8:30, whatever. Hopefully seeing loads of good game announcements. That's Thursday night from that time. On Friday, In the Cuisining is back for $10 and above patrons. You can watch that live if you're a patron at that tier and above. Just go to our Patreon page and you can support us and watch the quiz show that Sean hosts. And I'm very excited for
if
that.
If you're not digging the YouTube one, just fast forward to the end because then you'll just fast forward to the end.
No, I think if you're not digging it, you don't deserve to skip to the end.
Good point, Matt.
Not digging, turn it off and just delete everything.
Yep.
That's Friday. On Saturday, James has done most of David Cage's back catalogue, but now he's going to complete the set because he's going to stream The Nomad Soul. That's Saturday at 9. It's quite a unique setup, so I urge you to watch it. I mean, I haven't seen anything like it really in all my life. Watching Twitch, so it's going to be quite good. And that's Saturday night for 9. And on Sunday, I'm going to streaming again. I'm going to play Spelunky for the first time.
Good choice.
I saw the trailer for the second one. That looked great. I've obviously heard a lot about the first one. I'm going to give it a go. So that's Sunday night from 8 o'clock. You can watch all of them on twitch.tv/TCGSco. If you don't watch them live, you can watch old streams on our YouTube channel. Just search TCGS on YouTube. Patreon.com/TCGS if you want to support us and watch these in the Cuisining live or get our bonus podcast, which came out last week. You can hear some updates of all sorts of various subjects on that came out last week. And it's tcgs.co for everything else. But hopefully we'll see you Thursday for Talks Over on opening night live.
Yep. And we will catch you next week. Thank you so much for living it. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.